Welcome to episode 145 of the Reptile Gumbo podcast. Again, I'm short a co-host, but I've got Robert. Robert's here.
Howdy.
Katie's busy being the functioning parent and like taking kid to birthday parties and doing that kind of stuff. I'm being the horrible parent and said, no, the podcast is more important than my kid. So,
what are they doing?
Birthday at Urban Air. Yeah, that's what it was. So, and then we had our guest lined up for tonight, who is now lined up for next week. We had some stuff come up, but we'll get to our guest that we do have tonight. I was super excited to get this one on because I won't have this one back on. But before we get there, let's do our stuff real quick. If you need a high quality PVC, Katie's not here. High quality PVC rack, cages, hides, you know the drill.
Yep.
Contact lsreptileracks.com and get a hold of Robert. Get your rack, cages, your PVC hides, signs. You've been busy with signs lately. You had a lot.
I'm talking to a customer right now about a sign, actually.
So yeah, if you want a custom PVC sign, get with Robert. There's Katie. She's a Facebook user.
My chair is empty.
Yep.
Hey, there's Justin.
Also, Herb's Reptile shows. You just had a Herb's Reptile show in Slidell. Y'all had the power go out.
We did. And I made probably 80% of my sales while the power was out.
Yeah, y'all are packed. It was like right after y'all opened on Saturday.
Probably 10:30, maybe 11, and power went out. And it was out for about an hour and a half. It got really warm in there.
I bet.
It was like 83, 84 degrees that day.
And people that go to reptile shows have been known to have pretty good hygiene. So I bet it started to smell really good.
Luckily, I was right by the doors because when the power went out, the roll-up door where the main entrance is closed on its own. Like one of the deputies was standing there and didn't see it. And like Sean like grabbed him and pulled him out of the way. And then we realized a trash can was in the way. So all I see is this trash can get yeeted across the freaking room because Sean just reached in and grabbed it and pulled it out of the way. And
I don't know. Every movie I've seen, like Indiana Jones and all, says leave that there. So.
Yeah. You know where I'm at in that corner up in the front? Yeah. So those doors got open and that like my booth was the entrance. You had to walk through my stuff.
Nice.
Which was nice. I'm like, can we just keep it like this?
Can all shows be people have to walk through my booth?
Right. So
you're the new entrance to all Herb shows.
So yeah, it was a pretty decent show. It rained Sunday morning pretty nasty, so the show was really slow until probably like an hour later than it normally is slow on Sunday mornings. Yeah. But then it cleared up and got kind of cool. So
good.
Yeah, it was
a good show for you.
The weekend before in Austin was great.
Yeah, I heard.
So,
and then there was a show here in Houston that was pretty rough for a lot of people I know. But it shows, and it's Christmas time, so people they're either they've bought presents and they're not spending money. I mean, it's a tricky time right now.
Yep.
Speaking of Herb's Reptile shows, let's go with ones that are coming up soon. Let's see. Slidell is still here. That has already happened. That is not coming up. Oklahoma City is the first one of the new year, January 14th to 15th. Longview, Texas, January 21st and 22nd. Then the big show in Conroe on January 28th and 29th. Down to Corpus Christi, Texas, February 25th, 26th. Then back over to Louisiana to New Orleans, March 4th and 5th. Then over to
maybe.
West
Wego just got hit by a tornado like an hour ago. And that Winn-Dixie that's like a mile down the road is completely destroyed in a bunch of the neighborhood. So
shit.
Waiting to see. I think it was on the other side of the highway from the Alario Center.
Yeah.
But tornadoes don't care about highways.
That is true. They don't stop at red lights.
Right.
And then Bryan College Station, Texas, March 11th and 12th. And then Waco, Texas, March 25th and 26th. In case you might notice, there's like this glowing light behind Robert on the screen. I picked up 2 emerald tree skinks from our friend Brittany Reed over at Reed's Racks. That's RACHS because she does ractodactyl.
RHACS.
Yep. You know what I mean. Lizards with sticky feet.
Ractodactyl.
No. This is not a ractodactyl pterosaurus. This is.
I almost fed into that post Travis made today. It was ractodactyl.
We will bring that one up later too. Yeah. But I got 2 emerald tree skinks for the school zoo that I'm going to be building, and Robert and I are going to work over the Christmas break on those cages for that. But these they're pretty cool. I mean, it's sitting out in the open, the bright green lizards. So Although she keeps telling me they're going to like me and they'll come out on my hands, but I don't think it's going to happen. I've tried over and over again and they don't seem to like me.
Well,
she sends me pictures of them on her hands.
I know the ones a couple years ago at the bio dude, they would come out, you hold your hands like, one on each side of their big enclosure, and they'd run out and run down, on one hand, across your shoulders, back on the other one, then jump back in the enclosure.
Yeah, I would love that.
Of them, and they would just.
I'd love that.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. Logan used to love it.
I'm gonna try and tease them with food and see if they'll like me. I'm gonna try and buy their love. And then also our friends at Wiregrass Exotics. If you're in South Alabama, Georgia, Florida, in that area, go visit Wiregrass Exotics in Ozark, Alabama, for all of your reptile needs. I do want to. Well, I'll bring our guests in, and then we'll do our. I do want to do our give. I do want to do the do. No, I do want to do our giveaway for the first week of December for last week, because we are giving away again a gift each week in December, thanks to our friends over at Colossal Constrictors. But I'll go ahead and bring in our guest, our I'm not going to say savior, but whatever. I mean, he did help me out and come in and be my guest when I needed a guest. But I mean, he owes me since he ripped me off last year and cheated and won a competition that I should have won. I mean, I was firmly in like 7th or 8th place.
I've been voting for Caleb every day because I want Chris to have to do a whole episode with Caleb.
But let's bring in our guests. It is Antoine Hood of High Desert Pythons. I was saying reptiles, but it's not reptiles. It is pythons.
What's up, fellas? How's it going?
Not much. How are you been? We've been trying to get you back on for a while, so that I could complain about you ripping me off and stealing my
good, man,
picture.
but I'm kind of sad that the end of the year is coming and my reign as the lamest of the lame is coming to an end.
Yeah, you
and all the bragging and all the bragging rights and glory and bitches is going to go to somebody else. Man,
thank God, I hope it's Caleb.
But,
I do. Yeah. I hope so much that Chris has to spend an hour and a half or whatever talking with Caleb.
It's gonna be awesome,
dude. It would be the best Eyelash Viper podcast of all Eyelash Viper podcasts.
Oh man!
Shout out to Caleb, man. He's a good kid.
He really is.
We keep calling him a kid. He is legally an adult.
Yeah.
I mean,
but look at him.
I have children older than him, so he's a fucking kid to me.
My daughter's like a year younger than him, so I feel that.
It's just when you look at him, he looks 12.
Yeah.
So everybody should go. It's a Make-A-Wish thing for him. Just everybody go vote for him.
He looks like with the guy with the glasses from Hot Tub Time Machine. I'm telling you guys, look it up. I'm telling you.
He definitely does.
Oh, that would be so great. Just to force Chris to talk to him. So everybody go out there and vote for him. I know we've had, we talked to several other people that are on there, but vote for Caleb because it'd be hilarious. We need to get him on here. I can't get him on here at some point. It would just be me making fun of him for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, Caleb be all right.
No, but he's a trooper though, man. He takes it, man. He rolls with the punches. So I don't know how, because ain't no fucking way, man.
He loves the attention. It's just all it is. He loves the attention.
Yeah. That's my boy.
So, how's everything? I saw your Christmas card. I'm kind of glad that I didn't put my address out there to get a Christmas card, because I would hate to have to explain it to my kid if she went to go check the mail.
Yeah, everybody's like, "Hey, you didn't send one." I'm like, "I made a bunch of posts and you never sent your address. So what am I can't just fucking just hope it comes to you. I'm gonna send a fucking stork to your house." So
yeah, I hope that doesn't come right to me. Oh God, there it is. That is
so I set it up right. So when you open an envelope, most people open it from the back, and the first thing you see is this. You're like, "Oh, it's got the little Santa hat on it. That's pretty cool." And then you fucking turn it around, and just your nightmares are just
hold on. I'm gonna make that the whole screen. Hold it there for just a second, so everybody can see. Everybody take a look. Take in all that glory.
It's a lot of baby oil.
That's a big old python.
So I took some liberties with Photoshop, obviously, on many aspects of this card, and and by many I mean 100% of the card is Photoshop all the way down to the size of the ball python. So yeah.
So basically that's just your face.
It's just, and I think I even photoshopped my cheekbones.
See, I like the thought of someone having to sit there and take a picture of him naked while holding a ball python. I'm not going to think of it as Photoshop. I'm going to think of it real, and someone had to suffer through sitting there with naked Antoine.
Paint me like one of your guys.
Oh, someone had to oil him up for that picture. He is his own oil up person.
Yeah, man. I don't know. The idea just came to me like a while ago. I remember the first time I posted this picture without the Santa hat and just, I posted on regular Facebook and I was like, "You're welcome" or some shit. And then a bunch of people just went crazy over it. And I was like, you know what, man, I'm gonna send out some holiday cards this year, because one, I mean, it's good branding, because like, dude, Justin Kubelka reposted it on his story today.
That's funny.
And Brian Barchek is like, dude, I'm fucking dying. I'm on the floor rolling right now. I'm like, what? He's like, that card. I'm like, oh man. So
I saw it pop up on Bob Vu, and then Chris Eaton posted it.
So I sent out 150 of them, and out of the 150, only one person's been offended so far. So I calculated for 10. So that's not bad.
Please tell me what okay, you don't have to tell me who, but just please tell me what they said.
Oh no, it was some guy on Bob Vu's post. He commented, "So what? Christmas is just a joke now, or some shit like that." So that's
now,
like yeah. I'm just like, oh yeah. Oh, so this is what it took for you to fucking like. First of all, I made sure I put Happy Holidays on it for that reason. I wanted to appease the masses, and so. But when being a public figure and doing social media, you always got to keep in mind that not everybody knows you, not everybody knows your brand of humor and stuff too. So you're always gonna have those, those outliers who don't like something. So that was hard for me to deal with, like at first being public, like YouTube and stuff like that too, because I'd always focused on the negative comment instead of the 300 positive attaboys,
Yeah.
And after a while, I was just like, bro, if I can't get past this, man, I shouldn't be on this at all. I shouldn't even try to do anything public, So I just just got to learn to just kind of filter out the backlash and all the BS, and you know what I mean? Because if everybody in the world likes you, you're fucking phony, bro.
I figured from your past, you're pretty good at dealing with people just being assholes.
Yeah, so I mean, it's that too. But what's crazy that there's more assholes in the reptile industry than there is in the fight industry.
Really?
If you believe that, man. Well, I think because in the fight industry, everyone is used to getting their ass kicked. Everybody, people in the gym all the time sparring and training and getting humbled by someone half their size, by different gender, different financial class, stuff too. So everybody, when you get into that cage on the boxing ring or whatever, it's always an equal playing field. You know what I mean? So no matter what you've done in your life, there's that one simple time when you can get strangled or knocked unconscious. So I think that's why the fight industry is a lot different. So, but
dude, I just went and looked at Bob's post, and Bob went in on him as soon as he fucking made that dumb comment.
Yeah, Bob put him in his place, didn't he? Yeah.
Yes, he did.
I didn't even bother commenting, so Bob gave him a couple of bars and shit, and sent him on his way. And
then somebody said,
then his ears folded behind his head. He's like, "Oh, it's just my opinion."
Someone said, "We celebrate to appease Odin, the Germanic pagan god." Oh, jeez.
Yeah, it's amazing how few people have a sense of humor now, and then people can't just ignore shit, laugh it off, whatever.
Maria had them send it to her parents' house, not realizing what it was going to be. That's awesome.
Man.
Enjoy that, parents.
Yeah. Yeah, buddy of mine sent a picture of their like newborn daughter staring at the postcard like on the floor and stuff like that. And it's at the same time hilarious and the most precious picture ever. Like, I want to get their permission to repost it first, obviously, before I do, because it's someone's kid. But man, like, I'm about pissing myself, man. I was like, man, you guys are crazy.
And someone's gonna go, I can't believe you let a kid look at that.
I make those backlit signs that are a weed leaf, and I'm just waiting on some parent to lose their shit on me at a show. I've already had one that was like, I can't believe you have a sign up that says 100% het bitch. I'm like, well,
it's for you.
Yeah. Okay. That's what I told her. I was like, looks like we found our customer.
No, she's a visual bitch. Bitch.
True. Yeah. I mean, I should have said, "Is what, you want me to make one where it's a visual that make you feel better?"
It's just a mirror.
Yeah, no shit.
God, that would be a good one. Just
so I did that a couple years ago for my ugly sweater contest. I just put a mirror on the front, so everybody looked at it. Was the ugly sweater?
Yeah, that's a genius idea. Oh man.
Yeah, Yeah, I've realized it doesn't matter what you do, someone will be offended.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It's just, and like I said, you've got to look past all that and find the positive ones. And it's just what we've talked about with like reviews. Like a business will have 1,000 positive reviews. People will only pay attention to the handful of negative ones. But again, everybody will find a reason to bitch about stuff. So
yes, they will.
Yeah, see, I figure like in the food industry, the fact that there's an allowable amount of rat food that's allowed in food that's above zero tells me that tells me that, there has to be some little small bit of BS to get sprinkled around in life too. So that's how I say it, man. And that's still a wild ass stat to me that the amount of rat shit allowed in food is not zero.
It's not
right. Or bug parts.
Yeah.
Or
spider legs.
Or spiders and shit. Yeah.
There was a lady a few months ago in one of our local talk of groups that put this big post up about how she had just been in Pizza Hut or something. You know how they have those big proofers where they put all the dough, and the bottom shelf is probably 8 or 10 inches off the floor, and she was just throwing a fit about how they put food on the floor in there, and how if you like your food on the floor, then you go to Pizza Hut. And it's like, lady, if that's what you're fucking worried about, you probably shouldn't be eating at restaurants anymore, because you've definitely had worse than some shit that was a foot from the floor.
That's like, I love when people want to bitch about Waffle House.
Yeah.
I'm like, what did you expect? It's Waffle House.
Right.
Like,
that's what makes it great.
That's why I love
it. If I
it.
walk in a Waffle House and it's clean, I'm walking out. I'm like,
right. If my feet don't stick to the floor,
we're about to get abducted. If I don't see fucking
this is not a real waffle. It's one of those fake fronts. You walk in, they're gonna arrest you. This is gonna be a sting.
They're trying to harvest kidneys or some shit in here.
If it doesn't smell like fucking freshly fired shotguns and
if the waitress isn't about to have a fight with the other waitress or customers, fucking, there's something wrong.
That's part of the ambiance of the place, man. That's what you go for. No one goes to Waffle House for wholesome dining.
It's a nice, high-quality family restaurant.
For real, man. If you look at the cook and she's making an omelet, she's got bruised knuckles and shit because she was just duking it out in the backyard.
Make somebody mad right now.
She's got a fucking cigarette burn on her neck.
Just pick that Band-Aid out of your omelet and keep eating, damn it.
Oh, man. Yep.
People upset because the Giants gave Carlos Correa that huge contract, and this guy's like, no more loyalty or focus on teams and fans. It's all about the almighty dollar. If you think about it, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, it is a business. it's a fucking business.
Baseball, it's sport. All the sports are
the owners money. Like to win because it makes them more money. That's their businessmen.
I always love when people get mad at folks for wanting to make money. Like
it's only the people who don't make money.
I get being upset about someone who's only in something. Like, so we do reptiles, right? We all deal with animals, and I get the idea of being upset at somebody who's only in it for the money because there's a living thing behind that. But you can't get upset for somebody who's in it for the money and the animal. Like that's not, you can't get upset because they're in it to make money.
Right.
Like you can get upset if they are purely for the money and they don't give a shit if the animal dies or not because they're going to replace it with a new one. And we know some of those folks who look like ball pythons. They look at it as like they're in the skin trade. Basically, they're not worrying about the animal. They're just trying to sell a pretty color. Yeah, those people suck. But like Antoine's got money in his animals. He needs to make money back from those animals.
This is the my biggest breeding season ever. The most clutches, the most money I've made in the season, and also the most money I've spent in the season. So
that's
yeah.
So leave that last part out and go, it's the most money I've ever made in a season. And just stop right there and tell nobody.
Yeah, and it was, I did, but I think the last time we talked on the podcast, I said I wasn't going to do this year, but that was vending. Because I'm like, I don't need to vend. I'm fucking Morph Market is so great, and Instagram, I posted it, it's gone. But I tried to, try my hand in some vending at the Vegas show, and I did the Anaheim show this year. And honestly, dude, like I hate it, bro.
Well, because I imagine you don't like being stuck behind a table.
No, that's it. Yeah, it's just so fucking like you're just sitting there, and you gotta. It's just like every person that walks by, to me, it's a new Broadway production every time.
Every time,
because a lot of times people already know who I am too. So even if you're like hours in and you're kind of tired, you still gotta be on. So if a guy walks up to me and I'm exhausted, my feet are hurting, my back's hurting, I'm like, yeah, man, just look over here. You want anything? Everybody wants this guy when they walk up here. So everybody wants a dad joke or something like that, or some kind of wordplay on something, or somebody wants me to like take a picture with me with my fist by the head or fucking, just some weird shit like that too. So it's just, I'd rather walk around and do that. Just being behind the table, just trying to get those same people to buy animal from me. Sometimes it feels nasty, It's just like, it's
like, hey, the way I look at it too is, if they message me online or send me a text message, I can respond as I want to. Mm-hmm. Or if they just completely say something stupid, I can just ignore them. Right. But standing in front of you, you're going to get the same question over and over and over and over. And it's all day. And by the end of the day, you're exhausted. Like I had a guy yesterday ask me for a price on an 8x3x2 cage. And I gave him a pretty good price, James. I mean, you saw it. And he responded, well, I assume that means that comes with glass and delivery and locks for that price. I just didn't even fucking respond. I can tell you right now, that's the guy you're never going to make happy. So what's the point of me even continuing this exercise and wasting my energy? And I deal with 2 or 3 of those at every show.
See, and I'm different. I enjoy it. I love being behind the table, and I love sound. But like, I could totally get not liking it. Like, it definitely is.
Do it 30 times a year.
See, I would love it.
Yeah, you think so?
I love being behind. Like, so, so there's Amanda Reddy. We had Amanda and Leon. Like, they love that. Like, they're the kind of people that enjoy that. But it does take a certain person to like being chained to a table and having to deal with everyone.
Well, mine too is, Rachel wanders.
She does wander.
So I end up sitting there by myself.
That is true.
And having to call her to come back to.
I love like, I just ran to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But she's been at like 5 tables in the last hour.
Right. But,
it's funny. I'm saying all that. But guess what? I'll be at the Reptile Super Show Pomona weekend, along with Civil Serpents, Redwood Reptiles, No Limit Royals, Best Dressed Balls, and Ball Python shit.
How far is that from you?
2 hours.
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
I can already hear Chris Eaton going, oh, gross.
Yeah. 2 hours. You got to drive 2 hours?
Fuck, I drove 6.
Yeah, Vegas was 3 hours. That was the first super show in Vegas. And I'm sure you heard the stories about like the crested gecko thing and all of that thing. It was pretty nuts. Like one person had like a $15,000 sale. So good on Jacob and stuff too. But I did enough to pay for my trip, so that was cool,
Yeah.
But I didn't come. I'll never come away from a show empty-handed. That's just, it's no way in hell. Like, I would like flash my tits or something if that happened to get a few. I grab a megaphone and go, listen up. I'll beat everybody's prices here. Like, really piss people off.
Become super popular.
Sean Bradley got them to announce at the end of the show Sunday that all his any snake he had on his table that was in a deli cup was 60% off.
Did they really?
Yeah. So Sean had and it was like the last 5 minutes. So he had a crowd over there, people buying a bunch of corn snakes, and he had, I don't know, something else, some other pythons or something. And
I'm not gonna lie, that kind of would have pissed me off if I was vending.
It was the end of the day,
I guess.
Had it been
first thing on Saturday,
4 o'clock even, or 3 o'clock even, it was like 3:55.
Gotcha.
When Sean,
dude, the last 2 hours before a show weekend, man, that's when I pick up all my stuff. I come back, I'm like, hey man, the thing's still here. Mm-hmm. I bought a bunch of Ultramels in Florida that were normally like $600. I got it for like $275 a piece.
Damn.
Yeah, so just some stuff to grow up to put into some more recessive projects. So,
see, I know, like, so that used to be. I think this is one of the areas where Morph Market has stopped a lot of that from happening. Where at the end of shows, people will make deals just to get rid of stuff. A lot of times, it doesn't happen as much now because people, I guess maybe right now people aren't selling anything. But when everybody was selling, they weren't making those deals at the end of shows. But I remember, like, when I first got into this, that was if you were willing to wait until the end of Sunday and hope that whatever you wanted was still there, you could try to get it for a little bit cheaper. But it's a risk because I've done that thing where I've gone to shows, I've walked around and go, oh, I'm gonna come back for that, and I come back like an hour and it's gone. I was like, fuck, should have bought it.
Yeah, I know you guys probably talked about the reptile market ad nauseum, but I think I have a different take on it too about what's going on. Honestly, I think this is self-inflicted, man.
100%.
Oh, I've said it, especially with ball pythons.
I think it's the same thing that happened with the toilet paper issue. Someone heard that, oh man, they're going to start making toilet paper. They're going to be a shortage. And then everybody started like going nuts about the toilet paper. The same thing with ball pythons, man. It was like, oh, the market's going to crash. Everything's going to go crazy and you're not going to be able to sell your stuff. And then all of a sudden you go, boom, I'm selling my collection. This guy selling their collection. This guy, oh, I'm having the Black Friday sales going to last for 6 months. I'm like, what the fuck?
I think a part of it too is you had all the people that got COVID money in 2020, and they went out and bought a bunch of breeder females, and now they're making babies, and nobody knows who they are, and they're trying to. I mean, I'm looking right now. It's 49,526 ball pythons for selling.
Hey, it's gone down.
Yeah, it's under 50,000.
Well, also, the problem is too, like a lot of those people that got into ball pythons, a lot of them were first-time animal breeders. Period. That always, like anytime you see people get into the pet trade, whether it's dog breeders, cat breeders, whatever, their first foray into it, they always think, "Oh, I'm going to invest a bunch of money and I'm going to get rich the first year because they're going to produce and stuff." And dude, I got females here that didn't have their first clutch till they were 6 years old, but I also have females here that's like not even 24 months old that's already about to have their first clutch. So you never know the animals, man. And I don't think people like accounted for that. So they wanted a fast turnaround. And a lot of people have like investors and friends that lend them money for a certain amount of time. And when that, when those bills are due, man, they're trying to get their shit back, and then they figure they're not going to be able to do it.
Well,
especially when you go ahead.
A lot of them too, they don't realize how long 3 years is. And they realize they got to feed these animals all this time. And you've seen what rodent prices have gone up to now. And I think a lot of people just can't afford to feed their collection. I get people all the time messaging me. I probably get one every day, people selling collections. And I always ask them, what made you decide to sell your collection? I can't afford to feed them. That's been what I've been hearing lately. A lot of I can't afford to feed them. But it is a cycle.
Well, it's a cycle.
Up and down,
and most ball python people now in the hobby came in the hobby while the cycle was on the upswing.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they haven't seen the low part of a cycle. They've only seen the good part.
But if you could stick out the low, you're going to do well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. The past 4 years, I've had like, as far as getting rodents, I have great different rodent breeders competing for my business every week. I send out my list, and then I have one 100 miles one way, another guy, 150 miles another way, another guy 200 miles that way. And they'll go, here's what I want. All right, here's the price, and I deliver. Okay, sold. You save me some fucking gas. But that guy, man, he has like residual suppliers, and he said one guy stopped breeding because he had like a fire in his place, and then another guy quit breeding, and he stopped providing stuff to like some pet stores. So I had to drive to Vegas this weekend to pick up rats, and I'm just like, fuck, dude. So I ended up paying almost like 50 cents more per small, and so
it's you fucking ball python people that ruin the price of small rats.
It was crazy, man. I was like, I'm not paying these pet store prices. But then you get spoiled because I buy so many that, when you got a guy where you can buy a small rat for like $1.15, and then now this guy saying he wants $3.15 or $3 for a small rat.
Jesus Christ.
Like, what the fuck, dude? So yeah.
And then small rats used to be below $1.
And then some people, and then everyone's smalls isn't the same, and you got some rat breeders who like, oh, I don't distinguish between weans and smalls, and then you get a fucking small rat that doesn't have his eyes open, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Like, I could have bought an adult mouse that was bigger than this. What am I?
Yeah, so it's crazy. So, but I think now I'm trying to produce my own desert field mice, because that's what we call them because I live in California.
We talked about this when we had Jana on about ball pythons. So we talked about everybody getting into the hobby and buying stuff. The problem was they weren't everyone's idea of quality and everyone's idea of an expensive purchase is not the same, right? Yeah. So when they're like, "Oh, I spent a bunch of money on really good snakes," we talked about it. They bought a pastel and they bought a Mojave and they bought single gene stuff that can make single gene animals. Like, they didn't buy quality stuff. So there's a reason that you're not being able to sell your single gene thing at a show, because no one wants that snake. You didn't think it through.
I think I'm going to start leaving some of these Facebook groups, man, because I think I'm turning into those angry old school breeders that I used to talk shit about that were always grumpy. It's just getting ridiculous. Like, I see somebody posted a blackhead last week. Yeah, blackhead's so underrated. I'm about to bring blackhead back. And I'm like, that's a blackhead. That's a terrible fucking blackhead. It looks like a fucking, I'm like, it doesn't even have a black head. It looks like just a darker normal. Like, it was, and it was a good picture. It was a quality picture with good lighting and everything, man. But, you can't be mean to people. You can't be like, oh, that's not a good blackhead. Your shit is trash and stuff like that, too. You just mark that person's name down when you see stuff later, and, it's just getting out of hand. And it's the same thing over and over again. The same person will be making the same post in 5 different groups. Well, this animal was sold to me as a normal, but I think it has something hidden in it. Can anybody tell me what else it can be? It is like these bots. It's like these people aren't even real. They're like implanted with this Neuralink chip, and they all write the same exact script for their posts and shit. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, this, am I in the Twilight? Like, sometimes I think people are trolling me. I'm like, there's no way.
That's kind of why I don't even mess around on Instagram anymore, because it's just the same shit over and over and over. It's like somebody put a template out there for ball python people to post, and they all just used it. And I'm like, one person be original? Just somebody. They use the same music, the same like verbiage, the same everything.
Oh yeah.
Like, man, stand out, do something to make yourself.
And that's why I started doing all those reels this year too, like a little bit different. Like I'll post like some, I'll put some animals up here and there. I kind of mix it up, but and I haven't posted anything lately because I'm running out of ideas. So but those things,
you crowdsource that stuff. Just put out questions, have people tell you what to do.
It got to the point this year where going to shows, I started like going outside of the ball python issue. So now a lot of like corn snake people, a lot of the colubrids and frog people, like, hey man, I'll follow your page. You're so hilarious and blah blah blah. And I'm like, cool. So it's actually working what I want to do, man. And like this year, like I'm saying, man, this year's just been great. Just winning the contest that you lost like by a landslide too. I think I got.
Cheated. It's cool. You cheated. It's fine. Whatever.
I went from just under 9,000 followers when it started to now I'm just under 15,000.
Nice.
So yeah. So and it's just and whoever's watching right now, I just let people know, like, whenever you get any kind of push from like somebody who's like ahead of you in social media, more followers, and when you get on podcasts and shit like that, man, you take the ball and run. I know so many people who was on, like, when Billy was doing his podcast, a couple of years ago, he had people on there and they get a little bit of shine and they do nothing with it. So, like, no matter what platform you're on, man, it's always a stepping stone or, or a platform to get your face out there and just keep pushing and getting your brand out there, and getting your product out there. And I like it because it makes me more accountable. So now, being the face that I am right now in this industry, like, I have to take care of my fucking animals and put out good products. And you know what I mean? Like, I can't slip up one time,
Well, you're building your brand, but with quality. Because look, exactly. there's folks, we've always made fun of the folks that buy a pair of ball pythons and then the next day they have a logo and cards and tablecloth and all that shit. They're like, oh, look, I got all this. I'm like, yeah, but one, you have nothing to sell. You have 2 snakes. They're probably low quality. I'm like, it's not the same. You're not doing the same thing as the person that succeeded. You're doing your bastardized version of what you think they did to get to where they are.
And you remember the old lady meme where she has a walker and she's like talking to her like granddaughter, and she goes like, back in my day, blah, blah, blah. And then she goes, oh, you're crazy, grandma. So I posted, back in my day, you actually had to produce some snakes to be called a breeder. And like, oh, grandma, you're so crazy. Oh. Man. Boy, that triggered so many people. I'm like, it's in the fucking name.
Right.
That's like, if it triggered you, then you're the one I'm talking about. It's you.
It's like, why would you say Boy Scouts have to be boys?
Agreed.
It's in the name.
Oh.
So see that's gonna get me canceled. That's gonna get you canceled. Oh well. Man,
it's fine. You're on this podcast. It won't get you canceled. You'll be fine. No, like 17 people heard that. It's okay. But no, it's I don't know. I said I've been in the hobby for a long time. I'm not a big breeder in the hobby. I breed very, very small amounts of snakes here or there, but I've seen a lot in 20 something years. I'm just like, stop. Just people stop, take a second, breathe, look around. Not everybody has to get. It always amazes me. So someone gets ball pythons. They become a ball python breeder. So they've bred for 2 or 3 years, and then they're amazed when they see something like, I don't know, an Amazon tree boa. I'm like, but that was around before you got into your ball pythons. Like that's not a new thing. That's like, pay attention to the hobby. Look around, learn stuff. Don't just get in this one thing and then be amazed that, I don't know, like black rat snakes exist. Like, understand that, like, get into. That's what drives me nuts is the folks that say they're in the hobby, but they're not really in the hobby. They They breed a ball python, and that's it. They're not a hobby person. You haven't learned the ins and outs. You don't know what it's like, and then you start to bitch about things that are common stuff that's happened for years, like the ups and downs of everything. I can't sell all this. Well, yeah, that happens.
Yeah.
Or understand certain parts of the year, things will sell better than other parts of the year.
I tell people when they're when they're buying racks for me, and because they come to me and, well, what should I get for this and what should I get for that? And I always tell them, don't breed anything you're not willing to feed for a couple of years, because you might have to. You never know. I got a friend right now who has produced quite a few babies, and they're having a hard time selling them. But, that's just the nature of the beast. That's just business. Yeah. I mean, that's any business.
That's what I stress. That's what I stress on Patreon. So I was like, hey, when you put this pairing together, you need to think to yourself, like, the very best and the very worst outcome of these, is it something I wouldn't mind keeping, in my racks and looking at and feeding if I had no other choice, So First of all, definitely breed for yourself. So if you're looking at like the best 2 or 3 outcomes of a pairing and it's something you don't want to keep back, then why you put it together anyway? You're supposed to be improving on both of the parents. You know what I mean? So you might have one high-end male or something like that you want to like replicate. That's all fine and dandy and make a little bit of money here. But for the most part, it should be stuff you want to freaking keep, because 9 out of 10 times, especially when you're a newbie and no one knows who you are, I'm not spending $10,000 on somebody whose worth market page started 2 days ago. Are you fucking crazy?
Right.
There's no way. I'd rather spend $2,000 more on someone that's established so I can have that peace of mind than I send this Zelle off to you and then I'll never hear from you again.
Well, if you're gonna breed, the problem with certain morphs is that quality is not the issue, because there's certain things. So like, look, if I breed two Mojaves together and get a white snake, it's a white snake, right? It's gonna hide ugliness,
right?
So that person in their mind doesn't understand. I guess they haven't really breeding for quality. There's certain morphs though that it's quality. You've got to put good stuff in. Just because you put a gene in doesn't mean you put the right one in, and it doesn't mean that every baby you get from that snake is going to look good. That's when you then have to go, all right, well, here's the good one. I got to hold back this good one, and I got to refine this so it gets better. I don't know. It just drives me nuts that people don't take time or thoughts into projects. I guess a lot of them, it's not really a project. It's
more time or thought into their photos.
Yeah. So like this clown here is still orange. It's an adult. Everyone's like, clowns brown out. They brown out. They get dull.
No, that's pretty.
Yeah.
It's fucking orange. She's a breeder female and it's gone this year. So like this is the kind of stuff you should be looking for when you're trying to breed stuff, man. Like, like actually stuff should be making the cut. I don't like to use the word culling, but you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, so, right. We know what you mean.
Like, you know what I mean. So hold back the best stuff, and like when people don't realize that most people, when they have stuff for sale, they're probably not selling their best and brightest stuff because they're keeping that stuff back. And that's how you should be doing. Like I'm never going to produce a badass collection, but like, oh man, here, let me slide this guy my friend. No, you out of your damn mind, bro. But a lot of people don't think like that, man. And honestly, early on, I didn't think like that either. But now that I'm, in my 40s, and I'm a little bit more responsible than I was. I'm a little bit more responsible now. You got to see the big picture with things, man. Just like my biggest project, I know everybody's tired of hearing me talking about the Sunset Puzzle project. But if I do hit a male, I'm going to have to come to a crossroads, Do I sell this thing for $75,000 because that's what the bid is on it right now, or do I raise it up and make almost $200,000-$300,000 from it for the next 2 years because I got a bunch of Sunset stuff and puzzle stuff to put to it and make a bunch of hits on both sides, you know what I mean, and hold that shit back too. So it's gonna be fucking difficult when I post this thing and Miguel and TJ and Justin call me and go, hey, I'm gonna give you this for it, and I'll be completely out of debt with just that one set. It's gonna be fucking, but I'm gonna hold strong.
Good luck with that.
You had a hard time even saying that, Antoine.
Oh man, I'm gonna do my best. But.
So Chris Bally out here had a really good question. He said that's always been a question of mine. I've been in the hobby a couple of years. Will folks pass by my $10 snake to go to some that's been breeding for 10 $10,000 snake to go to someone that's been breeding for 10 plus years. And
yeah,
probably
if it's that kind of money. The problem is, for that kind of money, usually you need a name. And it's not that people are shitting on you for that you're not a big enough name, but
they just don't know you.
Yeah, they don't know you. And if you're going to invest in that kind of quality.
Now, and I know Chris, and I've been to his house and I've seen his snakes, and he has amazing animals from all the top breeders that he's produced babies from. If I was buying, because I know him, I would definitely consider that. But if I'm just walking by a table and I see $10,000 on a snake, and I never heard of this guy, but
Bob's Balls is on the other side,
or Antoine or one of these guys I know are there, and they have the same animal for the same price, I'm probably going to buy it from the person that I know.
Yeah,
that's just me. It may not be just me.
And that's why I had to tell myself when I started investing in these big projects, I'm like, I don't have the reach of some of these other guys. So how am I going to be able to get these? When I got into my earliest big project, like in the past 2-3 years, was the Hurricane Clown project, and they were going for $6,000. And I was like, would you spend $6,000 on this guy with, X amount of, footprint of social media and really hasn't been doing too crazy with sales right now? Would you send this man $6,000? No. Get your face out there and start networking and taking the right steps to, get that reputation out there too. Because that's a lot, dude. That's a lot of money to lose, man. Like, we got that guy in NorCal who tricked me and Billy, and he sold us the same snake. Did you hear about that?
Oh no.
So, I don't know if you guys follow Billy from Mutation Creation, but like right before the pandemic, he took a vacation to Colombia, with his girl for like a week or so. But beforehand, a guy had a banana inchy clown het pie male for sale and a pastel leopard clown het pie. So the pair, he wanted $6,000, and just the male by itself, he wanted $2,500. So me not knowing he had it for sale to anyone else, sent him half the money through Zelle. Second half, I drove up to Sacramento, picked the animal up, and he looked kind of weird, he didn't look as bright as most banana inchy clowns look. He kind of like on the pale side, and he was moving out of his house, so he was like moving into a new house, and I didn't know where he was moving to. But hey, I'm halfway moving. I got a whole bunch of like racks and shit he was getting rid of. That animal died like 4 days later. No, a week later. A week and a half later, I tried to call him, nothing.
Shit.
He blocked me on Facebook. He didn't answer the phone calls and just completely blocked me on everything. And then come to find out, I was on the phone with Billy, and he bought the pair from the guy for $6,000 and called the guy when he got back. Hey, man, I'm back in Canada. You can ship the snake now. Nothing. Blocked him on everything.
Jeez.
But I got a friend in the DEA, and I have all his information. So
see, that's where it gets tricky, because like that was taking a risk on buying a snake that you wanted from someone who doesn't have a reputation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know who Facebook user is, because whatever. But they said I've always been willing to buy from less known breeders, but the way they present themselves, especially at shows, makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And, so if you're at a show and you're a lesser known breeder, you're going to have to work harder. Don't be upset that you have to work harder to make a sale. Don't be upset that someone with a bigger table, with a bigger setup, with a bigger name sold more than you. That's just how that shit works, right? If I open up a small pet store down the road, I can't be mad that PetSmart's making more money than me right now.
Right.
That's been there.
Yeah, they're a bigger business. They've been there, and I'm all for buying from smaller breeders, because I like boas, and a lot of boa breeders. They're smaller breeders and they have some cool stuff. But you do have to be very careful. You've got to be very careful with who you buy from, because unfortunately in our hobby, because there is money to be made, it will always attract the lower common denominator of people.
Mm-hmm. But also for those smaller breeders at shows, you can also make the effort and compensate the other way, as far as like actually having a tablecloth with your brand on it, like actually buying some displays, putting a banner up, things like that. I've seen people at shows with just deli cups, no tablecloth, and then need like the red and black generic banner in the back with like the little printed out brand on it that the show provides.
Yeah.
See it all the time.
I can't wait to buy this clown pot from you for fucking $3,000. Come on, man. Like,
and they get all upset that you won't get. I mean, you've got to present yourself. Now, with that said, I know I know we shit on the ones that bought all that stuff before they ever bred an animal too. Yet those people were dumb. But once you have the animals to sell, you've got to present yourself in a way that makes you look professional, right? You can't just and people will. There's two sides of that argument. People will argue, well, that's a waste of money. I can put them on deli cup. I can put them in deli cup and sell them on the table. You can, but you can't be upset if it takes you 3 times as long to sell that animal than it does the person that put it in a nice, well-lit display with a bright, colorful banner and tablecloth and actually stood up and was talking to customers. I mean,
dude, remember when you were a kid and you went to Toys R Us and you went down the aisles and then you saw like the bright red, blue, and yellow stuff and displays and the Lego stuff, the stuff that kind of made you go like this. At the reptile show, it's the same thing, man. If I see like no effort into a display, I'm just keep walking. They can have the best animal in the world, but you have to catch it. Like this sales 101, man. You have to be eye catching with all this other competition around you. Why wouldn't you do something to stand out? You know, when you go to a fucking strip club, there's the strippers in there sit down and she have on like some jeans and some Timberland boots. No,
she's up hustling.
This is a terrible example, but you know what I mean?
This is the worst strip club I've ever been to.
Well, yeah, like, oh my God, like, you didn't even bother getting dressed for the show. I mean, the same thing with this industry, man. It's just, like, you have to show, to me, I think when you put effort into selling your product and marketing yourself, to me, that's directly proportional to how you're going to be in every other aspect of it. You know, so that's how I feel. Yeah, you know, obviously that's not the rule for everything, but I feel like if you take care of the smaller details, like your marketing and how neat your stuff is and how you feel like and how anal retentive you are about how your displays are covered in the line, that means when you go to your facility, it's probably the same way. You know, you're making sure your animals you got shit out in the tubs, you got water, they're watered constantly. You know what I mean? You're doing an overall checkup on your animals and not just a big number in the rack system, you know, as I talk with this whole shit back here. But
just in it for the money. Look at you.
You know, yeah, just in for the money, man. You know, but I just like the effort, and that's what that shows to me at a show. So if I see effort, you're gonna get my attention first before everybody else. And the other person, you know, you might get my attention, but it's after I already spent my money elsewhere. So now you only got $20 of my attention. So there you go. Ta-da.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a reason that companies, like my dad said, bottom line is you're operating a business, and business has spent thousands of dollars to stand out from competition. You know, and nowadays there's it's not that there's a lot of ways to do that for free. So like Darren said, he'll follow people on social media. It's free to have a Instagram. It's free to have a Facebook page. It's free to post pictures. And it may take a long time for people to follow you, but if you have that stuff, people will see it. And then when they come to a show, they go, oh yeah, I remember that guy. And then there's a better job. I mean, that's a free way to get a customer.
100%.
Yep.
But you got to try. You got to put forth effort.
And then, you know, when you're thinking of your company name, make it something that people can actually say.
Yeah.
not suck my balls.
Right. Right.
We bought our first family snake from Suck My Balls.
Suck my balls.
My 12-year-old wanted this ball python from Suck My Balls.
And the other choice was chocolate salty balls. Some guy named Chef.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy. So we had a couple of questions for this week. One was from our sponsor for our giveaway. I want to go ahead and do our giveaway for last week. From Colossal Constrictors is doing a giveaway. We're giving away a infrared temperature gun every week of December. All you have to do is go and comment on our questions for that week, and these are the questions from last week that I took the names from, and then we will draw a winner from that. So we had like 20. I'll look in just a second, but pull up the random number generator. It was a lot of people commented last week. 28 people to pull from. That is huge for us. Let's pull up my random number generator.
Send me the link for that company. Send me the link for that company because I'm actually in the market of getting a new temp gun. So since it's one of you guys' sponsors, I'll buy a couple from them. So
well, they just went. They're bow breeders. They just went on Amazon and they bought them and they're gonna ship them.
Okay, cool. Okay.
They just wanted to help out. Let's see. All right. So the winner is. Let me pull it up here. All right. No. Do you think he'll take it if I say it? He won again.
Did he really?
Do you think he'll take it?
No.
Okay.
Let's run it again.
We'll do it again.
I'm gonna tell him to quit entering.
He's got to quit entering
every fucking thing and
every time.
Of it.
The winner here is Laura Vincil. I don't know who Laura Vincil is, but I will shoot her a message later. She won a free temp gun from Colossal Constrictors.
Awesome. Congrats, Laura.
If anybody's in the market for a boa, there's very few of them on Morph Market. They sold most of their stuff right now, so they're still, it's not that season. But check out Colossal Constrictors. They have amazing boas. If you're a boa person, if you're a ball python person, try a new species. Just check it out. But so yeah, there's that. So I want to go with one of our questions this week is from them, and then one of our questions was from our guest we were going to have, which was we were going to have my brain just blank. Oh my God, Ryan McVeigh. Jesus Christ, we were going to have Ryan McVeigh on, but he will be here hopefully next week. Our first question was, what defines successful reptile keeping and breeding in your own eyes? And that was a Ryan question, but I want to go through some of the answers, and then I have some thoughts on that one too. But some of the answers were Ashley Howdy from Focus Cube said, always pushing to do better, keeping an open mind and continuing to learn. Keeping an open mind and learning is a big problem in this hobby.
Man, buddy, let me tell you.
I mean,
everyone has all the answers, man. Fuck, no, you don't.
Well, it's always been. We always said that, if a lot of people in this hobby, the first time they've heard something, that becomes the fact. That's it. And every time they hear anything after that, they go, no, it's this. I'm like, dude, you've owned that one bearded dragon that you got off Craigslist for a week. You are not the end all be all of information here.
Yep. There is a group that I'm in. It's one of the Texas groups, and the girl that runs it, never heard of her before, but she keeps advocating that if they don't take PayPal, don't buy from them. And I'm like, PayPal's the fucking worst of all of them.
Yeah.
They're the easiest to get scammed on, and they will take your money. Ask me how I know.
Yeah, and then PayPal will just give your money back to them.
And I try to talk to some to her, but she's like, "What's my group?" Okay, you're right, 100% your group. I will not be a part of this anymore.
Do you guys use Square?
Yeah,
I have. Yeah, I use Square. I still use PayPal every now and then, but I swear I use Cash App. I'll use pretty much anything at this point.
Yep. So GoDaddy, who my website's through, has their own credit card processing system now, and if your website is through GoDaddy, they actually give you better rates.
Oh, that's dope.
So I've been using GoDaddy for 6 months probably, and I really, really like it. Get my money the next day.
I try not to use PayPal anymore at shows and selling an animal, just because I don't want my shit taken away from me if PayPal realizes, oh, you sold an animal? Yeah, we're going to go ahead and freeze your account.
If they file a chargeback, they're going to give them their money back.
Really?
100% of the time, PayPal is going to give them their money back. They don't even care to investigate anymore. So I'm just not going down that road anymore.
I like Square. The way they do their all your information, your data. You can kind of see what your sales are this week or that week, or what they were last year. Like, I like how Square set out.
I could tell you from experience that Square will investigate and will take your evidence and make their decision, because I had someone at a Conroe show spend $1,200 and they waited until the 59th day to file a chargeback saying they never received their products. And I'm like, it's a good thing I have a pickup slip and all that shit where you actually picked your stuff up. And I sent it all into Square, and they found in my favor.
Well, that's because Square is a business type thing. So like PayPal has always been like, I need to send money to this person. Whereas Square, you go into most like privately owned businesses, they're using a Square point of sale system at the front of their store.
Dude, now with the Square app, you can even have people tap on your phone now instead of having to actually do it yourself.
I've done that.
I was like, oh man, this is a lifesaver, because I can never get that piece of shit to sync right during the show. It's always doing this. It's always doing a big sale too. All right, fucking $1,000. Fuck, I can't. All right, tap it on my phone. Good.
I fucking hate when the person shows up and all they have is a credit card with a magnetic strip. I'm like, fucker.
Oh, shit.
This thing takes a chip or tap. Now I gotta go find the little dongle thing to plug into my iPhone so I can plug this stupid extra thing in so I can run your goddamn credit card from 1999. Get a new car with a chip in it.
And it was Square. If you punch it in manually, they take more money out.
All of them do. All the credit card processors do that.
I was like, what the fuck, dude?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand that. There's got to be a reasoning behind that. I don't know what it is.
And if you send an invoice, they take more for an invoice than they do if it's just a swipe, a dip or a swipe, a dip or a tap. I think is what they call it.
See, this year I growed up, so I don't. When I cash the money out, I don't do the instant for the fee. I'll do the business.
Yeah.
Me too, because when I did my taxes last year and looked at how much money I gave away to do the instant, and it was like five digits. I was like, okay, we're not doing that shit anymore.
It was a lot between Square, Cash App, Venmo, and stuff like that too. I think in 2021, it was like almost $4,500 in instant. Like, I could have saved that, dude. That's a fucking another rack, dude.
Yeah.
So
I like Cash App. Cash App makes a lot of stuff easy.
So stop being a bum and do the fucking free transaction. You don't need the money fucking 2 minutes later.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and like with Square, even if you do the 1 to 3 business days, I get it every time the next business day.
Yep, exactly.
Every single time.
Sorry,
what happened?
I was having to text somebody something. No, we're good. So there was another answer to this question that I really want to go to because it got a lot of replies, and we'll get into it. So, anyways, Amanda Reddy, who we had on last week, said the health of the animal should be seen at first look. You should offer the customer lifelong support and education on their animal. Your breeders should be kept to the highest standards and no cut corners on their care. Healthy breeders make healthy babies. All things I 100% agree with. And then one person commented, and this is where it kind of got off the rails, and I disagreed wholeheartedly with the person that commented on Amanda's thing. But Paul Fiorito said it's not on the seller to educate the purchaser. I disagree. If I'm selling you an animal, it's definitely on me to make sure you know what you're buying. Now, it's definitely on you also to know what you're buying, but it's not just, I mean, that's, I hate to say it because I don't know this person, but that comes off as someone who's just selling stuff to make money. Because if you don't care what they do, what happens with it, that's just selling to make money. That's not selling an animal to hope the animal survives.
It reduces the headache in the long run too, because if you have someone who purchases an animal from you and they're well informed, you won't have to have like BS calls 6 months later, like, hey man, I bought this snake from you 5 months ago and he's only eaten twice and you're just not calling me. Well, I figured, like I sold this thing at 1,400 grams and it's like 700, like, dude, it's sick. Like, oh, well, I just figured it'll come around eventually. So you're waiting 6 months later. So what do you want from me? You want your money back, huh? That's not happening. But I mean, it's nice that you think it was going to happen. It's like I have a reasonable refund policies and health guarantees with my sales too. But it's definitely not 6 months later after you've been feeding this animal rat pups. That's an adult. And when I say, hey, what's his ambient temperature? You're like, oh, it's 65 degrees in the room. And yeah.
Well, so I went on to tell the person I strongly disagreed, and I said, as a responsible breeder and seller, it's definitely my responsibility to make sure the person buying the animal I produced is well educated and set up for success. And their response was, upfront, sure, but I'm not on call for a one-time purchase. How long of a relationship are you going to form for a small purchase? I'll buy a normal from you and state asking questions weekly until you block me. Then you are on the FBI. No, if I sell an animal to somebody, please feel free to contact me through the entire life of that animal. I've sold so many animals that I wish people would contact me and just send me pictures.
Right.
I would love them to just send me pictures as it grows. So, yeah, I disagree that I do want them. I want them through the life of that animal to contact me, good or bad, because I produced that animal. I even had one person I sold an animal to, and then they couldn't keep it. They're going to sell it. I was their first contact that said, hey, do you want it back? And I didn't have the space for it and all, but I liked that they thought to reach back to me to see if I wanted to get the animal back from them before they sold it off to somebody else.
And in most cases, those people who have all those crazy questions that's not as informed as everybody else, usually those are like the smaller purchases. So if something does happen, I'm cool with going back and forth over a situation that's a $200 animal. I'm not going to go back over this $6,000 animal I just sold you a year ago, and now you completely messed the animal up. And I'm not, you know what I mean? It's just, it's a scale. But those purchases like that, you get the least amount of questions. The high-end snakes, I get, hey, what's it eating on? Do you take PayPal or do you take Venmo or whatever? Done, here's the money. When it's a $200 animal, is hey, just to make sure that I'm not getting scammed, could you get today's paper and take it in front of you, holding a cup of unsweetened tea so that I know? I'm just like, no, I'm not doing that. Can I FaceTime you and you can tape you can videotape. I'm talking to old people.
Oh, damn.
Can
you get the laser disc?
Your entire snake room, and I'm like, nah. I was like, I'm sorry, I really don't have the time to do that when I got 50 more inquiries on this animal. It's just, to me, it's just not worth my time. And so sadly, I'm at that point. But there's a time where I would do that, but now just honestly, dude, like, time is money, bro, and I really don't have time to entertain those type of inquiries.
Well, see, and it's different for like if someone got a snake and they've gone 7 months and it's gotten sick, or a year later and it's sick. That's on the other thing. They need to go see a vet. If it's sick, go see a vet. That's not something I can fix. But like, I sell Samboas to a little kid and their mom, and after a month it hasn't eaten, please contact me and I'll help you through the process. I'll give you all the tips that I would use to try and get it to eat, because I promise when I sold it to you, it was eating. And we'll go through everything. Just because I feel like that's on the seller to make sure that the person you sold it to is set up for success.
I agree.
Right. And when you solve their problem too, they're likely to come back and purchase from you again. And when they get a little bit more experience, they'll spend more money on you, get more money with you. So I mean, like, a lot of my smaller customers over the years that bought like the Posset stuff and the $50 animals here, they came back this year and they're spending $800-900 on animals, and then eventually, the $2,000 and $3,000 animals. So that's it, because that's the relationship we have, and they feel comfortable with me. So if you go away from a purchase and don't have that warm and fuzzy, and you feel like you've been like had, you're not going to go back to that person.
Yeah.
like never. How many times you spent good money somewhere and you went home and was like, I fucked up, bro. Like, that's the worst thing. That's the worst way you can make somebody feel as a business and as a seller of animals. It's fucking crazy.
Well, and we've seen people at shows who will say whatever they need to sell an animal, true or not. And then once the animal's off their table, they will never once think about it again. And to be honest, they probably weren't thinking about it much when it was on their table.
Yeah. Luckily, we're seeing less and less of those these days.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Chris asked, where do you see the industry going? Seems like double and triple recessive is the way folks need to move in order to be relevant. That's what I've been told. Just curious on your point of view. So I'll let Antoine answer that first, and then I'll kind of give mine. But go ahead, Antoine.
I agree as far as like staying power, and just because the price, especially with ball pythons, the price dictates the availability and the difficult of making the animal. So everybody isn't just spewing triple recessives out of their butt right now, because they're hard to make, and a lot of double recessive stuff I got right now. Dude, I'm getting my ass kicked with 1 and 2 odds. You think I'm hitting fucking 1 and 16s? Like, 1 and 2. Dude, if I could miss from a visual recessive to a visual recessive, I would fucking miss. So yeah, it's just difficult to make, man, and that's how the value holds. And then adding those other like incomplete dominants into them down the line and stacking those genes, that's definitely where the money is. Is there a place for the simpler stuff now? Like, I have like a OD5 yellow belly female here, but I'm not using her to put the other incomplete dominants. I'm keeping her aside for when I do hit those quad and those triple and quad recessive males to put more stuff into it. So I think that's where the industry is going right now. And if you're in it for the long haul and actually want to have a sustainable business that grows every year, you have to get into those multi-recessive projects.
And so I think there's a couple things to it. I think definitely double, triple, and then ball pythons. I think quadruple recessive projects are big, but it goes back to, again, quality. Just because it has 3 genes in it doesn't mean it's the same as another animal with the same 3 genes in it.
That's right.
Right. If it looks like shit, it's not worth the same because the genes are there. So you've got to think quality when you're doing that, especially when you're getting into triple and quadruple head stuff, because it took a long time to make that animal. Don't make that animal out of shit animals, because then you just have an animal with a lot of genes that's going to make horrible looking babies. And you're going to wonder why you can't sell yours next to so-and-so at a show, even though it's got 4 genes in it. Right.
Yeah, dude, this genetic testing, man, it's been like crazy. Like, I got a lot of stuff from our, hey, save the shed. Like, I got a couple of possible quad heads that just proved out like triple recessive heads and stuff like that too. And I'm just waiting for like a couple of other genes to come up, like Desert Ghost and G-Stripe. So yeah, man, it's been a game changer. And a lot of people, I know, were against it initially, because they're like, oh, it's going to change the market. It's going to like, lower the value on things. I think it's going to cut a lot of stuff back, maybe a year and a half, 2 years too, because when you do that same amount of breeding, there's going to be some stuff that prove negative when you do the tests, and you're going to move on from that project, and it's going to be the same amount of animals, whether they grew up or not. So I think overall the genetic testing is a really good thing, man, and it's made me like a lot looser with projects now. So I'll stick like some pairs I would never do 2 years ago. I'll make a bunch of possible hets and I'll get them tested, because now I got like that that GHI spot nose stranger het clown male that I'm putting them to like another double recessive girl next year. And I want to hit triple recessives, but I'm gonna go ahead and sift them out and get them all tested. You know what I mean? So, and if I hit a stranger triple het BG G-stripe clown, just that male by itself, you know what I mean? Like that would pay for like the next 2-3 racks. You know what I mean? So,
the folks that were against it are upset they're not going to be able to sell their possible hets for more money. That's the ones that are upset.
And it's also going to be those assholes that when they do test negative, they're going to try to like still sell them as possible hets. I know it. I know it's going to happen.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So it's definitely going to be like, oh, tested negative, dude. But that's what I do like about some of the software, like the Clutch software. Once you assign it one of those like numbers from how you catalog it and send it off, that number stays with the animal his whole life if you sell that exact animal. So that's the cool thing about that. I mean, there's always going to be scammers and people going to circumvent the system and stuff like that too. But those people, they never last, man. They get exposed real quick, and it's just a lot easier to expose those scammers right now and the pretenders and the fakers. So they'll fade off into obscurity.
I'm laughing at my dad every time you start listing off like a combination. He says it sounds like Ricky Bobby listing off his sponsors.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. Oh, man.
Sean Gray wanted us to ask you when you're coming to Conroe, like actually coming and not saying you're going to be there and then not showing up.
Jerk face.
So
January, June, or September.
And so I was going to say, I'm not going to do the September Arlington. I'm going to do Conroe instead. So I'm going to do Arlington. Well, how do you guys say it? Arlington?
Arlington.
I'm from New Jersey, so I was born on North Arlington Avenue. So I'm going to Arlington, the February show. So I'll come out to the Conroe in September.
Awesome, man. We'll look forward to that.
Yeah, and I want to kick it with the homies, and I owe Sean Gray a couple kisses on the mouth and stuff too. So so he asked for it, so now it's coming now.
So he'll gladly take it.
Shout out to Sean, man. I love that dude, man. He's awesome.
He's all right.
Don't say too many nice things about him.
That's my guy.
Sean been working his ass off the last couple days.
Oh yeah, on their extension.
Yeah.
My dad said where in Jersey his brother used to live in Cherry Hill.
I was born in Newark and I was raised in East Orange and went to high school in Trenton.
And then you moved to the whole other side of the country.
Yeah. Then I did my Marine Corps career.
That's what I was about to say, Marine Corps.
In the Carolinas. Yeah,
okay.
So I was in North Carolina for like a decade and then found myself out in California.
Did you find it so much easier to breathe the air when you got to North Carolina from New Jersey?
Oh, definitely, man. New Jersey smells like fucking old diapers.
Yes.
It's weird to have a whole state that's based off of exits. Where do you live? Off this exit.
Yep. I left for the Marine Corps 23 years ago, and I think I've been back in New Jersey less than 5 times. and I think 2 out of the 5 times were just because, and the other 3 would have buried people. So yeah.
It's a weird state. I've never heard a positive thing about New Jersey. I've got to imagine being on there like
the beaches in like Cape May and stuff are ish.
Yeah, the beaches are cool, and there's a lot of nice parts. I mean, like people don't realize how big New Jersey is on like agriculture. It's the Garden State. So other than like the the city life and things like that too, there's a lot of marshes and meadows and like wildlife reserves out there and big veteran parks, which I enjoyed that. And that's when I started like herping as a kid, going to like those type of parks or the empty lots that they just like tore a building down from. And
well, and New Jersey, New Jersey has the largest black bear population per capita or per acre. So it's there's a very large part of New Jersey that's rural, and people just don't realize that because they've never been there.
Because the non-rural
it's
part
crazy. Like, dude,
yeah.
like when I found my first like DK snake in New Jersey as a kid, I never told anybody that under that same piece of plywood was a snake, a salamander, and a fucking heroin needle. What was his favorite morph combo when he got into the hobby, and how does he feel about that combo now? Dude, man, it was real limited. It was just like pines, albinos, caramel albinos, hypos, pinstripe, spiders, pastels. That was pretty much it back then. And I was always partial to the pinstripe, and I still am. So I like it in clown. I like pinstripe pines. I still love pinstripe, man. Like, I have a rule. I must always keep pinstripe in my collection. I freaking love it. So
nice.
Yep.
So people talk about the Pine Barrens. It's like the one thing I know of Jersey is they have the Pine Barrens. And my dad said you can also find all those dead bodies from mob hits in the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
So. Dude, we used to play a game, find Jimmy Hoffa as a kid.
Nope, this dead body's not him. Keep going.
Yep. Yeah, I'm like, are you guys out there playing Jimmy Hoffa again? Yeah, Mom, we think we got something.
So let me get back to some of these responses about successful keeping. Our buddy, I'm assuming the Stacks is DNT retakes. I'm assuming he's the one who responded. Yeah. Said not mass producing. Don't overwhelm yourself and don't rely on it being your bread maker, and great customer service. Again, we've talked about great customer service. It's important, but not mass producing is a big thing, which I think the genetic testing is going to cut down on a lot of mass producing. I don't want to say useless ball pythons because let's face it, they're all useless, but it's going to cut down on it's going to cut down on all the as Chris likes to say, Cobra food or het freezer ball pythons.
I'm going to have a mushy response to this too. So fucking get your fucking tissues out.
Go for it.
I'll wait till the end. I'll wait till you're done with all the responses.
All right. Danielle said healthy animals and integrity when dealing with customers. Again, we've talked about that. Also being willing to adapt when new information comes to light, which again is a hard part for many people in this hobby. Like you said, the ones that have been doing it for so many years, willing to not try. Now, don't get me wrong. There are definitely some old timers that do things that have worked since 1975, and they still work now, which is fine. But understand that the other stuff exists, and that if you can try them, it's fine. Joe Smith, that is the most generic white person name I've ever seen. But that can't be. Anyway, Joe Smith said, ethically keeping the animals in a way that allows them to exhibit their natural behavior while maintaining a healthy environment for breeding, doing so in a way that is safe and humane for the species, and not exploring them to mass produce babies. Anyways, and making sure those babies are sent to people with a basic grasp of the species. For the longest time, everyone's like, well, if you're keeping them right, if they're breeding, that means you're keeping them right. Yes and no. I think there's partial truth to that. I mean, you do have to meet certain criteria for them to breed. I mean, there was a long time where ball pythons did not breed in captivity. They got over here, they fucking starved to death and died. That was kind of the path of ball pythons. So we did figure out something right now that you can breed them in a shoebox in a closet with minimal effort. But that cannot be the only measuring stick to whether you're keeping something healthy just because it can breed. It definitely has to be part of the equation, but it can't be the whole thing. But mostly it's just it's talking about, healthy animals, looking at you can tell. We've seen enough snakes. You can tell when a snake. You'll see them post on Facebook. Someone posts a picture of their snake, and you're like, well, that's a sick animal. Like, and as soon as someone wants to comment to help them, they get all defensive. I'm like, whoa, hey, you decided to put that animal out there for everybody to see. Maybe you should listen to some people. But go ahead and get mushy, Antoine.
All right, so piggybacking off the MMA world, like when I started like legit training fighters and like bring them in the cage and like get my face out there and like combat to Americas and Bellator, nothing felt better. Like way better than even seeing my guy get the hair raised than other coaches and like fighters that I looked up to growing up and their coaches being on podcasts saying stuff like for example, Chuck Liddell's coach, John Hackelman, on a podcast says, hey guys, I think one of the big upcoming coaches is going to be my guy Antoine Hood on a Flawless Victory. Boy, I about pissed my damn pants when I heard that. And so to me, being the successful breeder is like the respect and admiration of your peers. I think think if your peers respect you, especially how competitive we are with selling these animals, we're competitive as shit. A lot of these guys aren't really friends. Like they're just frenemies. Like they're cordial with each other. They'll like kind of, back and forth here and there, interact too. But I want to be the top guy. Like I don't want to just be like filler or extra in this fucking movie. Like I eventually want to be at the top of the mountain. I'm coming for everybody's head. So when people feel that, not even, I wouldn't say the word threat, but feel that you're a competitor or a heavy hitter in the industry, that means everything, all the other boxes should be checked at that point, because nobody with a shitty collection is just going to look at that person and hear about them and go, oh, it's no big deal, nothing. You know what I mean? But when you see somebody constantly producing cool animals and coming out with some fire stuff, and like marketing's great, social media is great, and every year he's got some new world's first or some awesome project, and he's going, what? And you got to go, well, damn, he's on my radar now. That's what I want. So you can't have anything. You can't have all those other criteria without having that respect from your peers too. So
it's funny you talked about them calling you out for that. That's like when I was at Conroe, and I've said it before, but when Tracy Barker walked by my table and told me how great my boas looked, I mean, I held it together until she walked away. Then I lost my shit when she walked away.
I would have cried. Yeah. I'm a big wuss like that, though. I'm like super boy. Yeah, that would have did it right there, man.
Sean's question is, why are there 8 different fucking names for solid white snakes? Ball pythons. That's all I gotta say, Sean. It's ball pythons.
Yeah. Just because there's different genes that do the same shit.
That's it. So oh no. Did we lose us, or did we just lose Antoine? I still have internet.
I think we lost Antoine.
Let's see.
Pause.
Oh, there he is.
We're back.
All
right. I blamed it on Sean because he fucking stop putting him up there. He's fucking up everything.
God damn it, Sean. Well, I'll tell you. So we talked about mixing genes together and all, and these quad hets and all this stuff. It also depends on which genes. Like there are certain things, like you can't just put like 4 genes together and go, man, I got a 4 gene animal. Some of those genes together just look like shit. So like when we go to the white snakes, you can put some of these together and it just ends up a lot of things that get mixed together just end up taking away color. Like you just lose a lot of color and things fade as they get older. Yeah, it's got 4 or 5 genes in it, but it looks like shit.
And then you have to sometimes you got to be the bold guy to experiment too. Like, excuse me, recessive that's coming back right now is a genetic stripe, but it's really limited. So you can have 2-3 genes in the G stripe, and you might have like a little squiggly line on the side. Like some guy just came up with the hurricane genetic stripe, and all it did was make the stripe like squiggly instead of straight on the back. And that's it. I'm like, I spent 3 years on this. Like, fuck it. And now I gotta convince somebody that this subtle change in the gene has this other gene in it. So now I'm gonna charge you $3,000 for this animal. That's a hard sell, man. So, but big shout to those people who who experiment with those, and sometimes they don't turn out the right way. So there's a lot of projects I get into when I finally hit what I want. It looks like a fucking turd. Yeah. And I'm just like, I'm not showing that. But there's never just that end game with some of those genes too. So you always got to know, okay, if this is a big pattern mutation that's messing up the pattern of animals, do I keep it like this and just add color to it, or like what direction to go from there? So like, I know you guys seen the monsoon project. To me, every monsoon looks the same.
Yeah.
Every monsoon is to say like, oh, this is the light monsoon, that's the medium dark one, that's the dark rose. To me, it's like coffee. It's like coffee tint. It's shit too. Oh, you got the Pike Place dark roast monsoon. All right, cool. So I think with that, that's when you put lavender albino into it. You put Desert Ghost, Ultramel, Monarch. Do it that way, and that's the direction I'm going with it. So I have a couple of pairs of double het Desert Ghost monsoons. So I just want to make some bright speckly snakes now instead of just some.
That's always been my problem with a lot of ball python morphs, is they just they fucking look the same. Like a lot of them, I'm like that. So I hang out with a lot of ball python people at shows, oddly enough.
Sure,
but like they'll point out things. They'll start saying this is that, and I'm like, it's a slightly better looking normal. I don't understand it. It's still brownish, goldish color with black markings.
Because you're not seeing the potential in it, James.
Shut the fuck up.
That's why all you're seeing is the surface. You're not seeing what it can do to other things along the line. So
you're right, and I don't get it.
You
you don't have the eyes yet. And there's a time where I didn't either. Like when yellow bellies first came out and they were like, oh, this is yellow belly. I said, this is normal. They was like, no, if you go like this and look at the flaming, I was like, I have normals who have flaming and shit too. Is mine a yellow belly? No, because I'm like, well, so it took a while to kind of get to it. There were genes that I should have messed with years ago that because to me it looked like a normal, I just was like, nah, but then once you see it in clown and pine and what it does to other things or the super forms, it made it a better animal. So
that's why I like things like clown, pied, banana, ultramel. I can look at them and go, yeah, that's different. That's definitely a different snake.
James, you're going to have to open your heart to some new avenues and explore the wonders of that is Python Regis.
No, I'm good. I'm good.
And the Regis and Kathy Lee and
oh God. Fucking ball pythons. So our other question of the week was what is one tool you wish you had in your collection? Which were some interesting answers here. Megan said a solar meter, which was gonna be great because we were gonna have McVeigh on and they have one, but I guess we'll have to wait till next week. But yes, the solar meter is great, especially if you have things, lizards that need UV lights, tortoises that need UV lights, not your ball pythons that you're going to put in a closet. That's fine. You don't need it for them. Fucking ball pythons. Humidifiers. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I've always lived in places where humidity has never been an issue, but like Antoine, I bet out there, humidity is probably an issue for you.
If I get 5% humidity, it's going to rain.
I can't imagine living in a place like Jason Miloradovich, who lives in Colorado. It's always dry there. I just can't imagine having to deal with that and then have to deal like animals shed, and we don't really have shedding issues here because we live in a fucking swamp down here.
Yeah, I just have to use some kind of like coconut product, and I have to literally like spray it every other day, and then they usually do well like that. So if I go maybe 3 or 4 days, that thing is bone dry in there, man, and they don't do well.
That's crazy. I can see where a humidifier be issue. Douglas Ray White said he needs an emu.
He does.
He
got one this weekend.
He did. I saw his emu, his stuffed emu, which would probably not kill him. Maybe
Sean brought it in a tote and like was shaking it around like had him and Tasha convinced
that it was a live emu in there.
And Tasha was fucking pissed. And then Sean reaches in and like pulls it out, and yeah, it was great.
Fucking Douglas Ray White would get killed by an emu. That would be North Louisiana, man, killed by emu.
Right? Would you see an Alaska state trooper? Well, he's like a judicial officer for Alaska state trooper. Got killed by a muskox this weekend.
The fuck?
In his own yard. Like in the middle of the night, heard his dog's going crazy because he's a musher.
Yeah.
Also, and goes out to check on his dog. There's a freaking muskox out there, and it gored him. And
fuck that.
Yeah.
See, but that's how you go. No, man. Like I don't want to fucking die from choking off a muffin.
Or a heart attack, right?
Oh yeah, it was crazy, man. Antoine got the COVID vaccine, and then he went to sleep, and fucking he got myocarditis and died. You know how pissed off I'd have fucking haunted all you motherfuckers if that shit took me out. No, man, like that's the bullshit. I would have been like fucking Antoine's pet jaguar. He decided to turn left one day when he wanted to go right, and he ripped his throat out. That's some gangster shit.
Antoine was laying in the hospital. Don't let me die from this.
Yeah.
Yeah, hell no. Man.
Someone bring in a lion. Let it tear me apart. I need something to happen quickly before I go.
And if that does happen, feel free to lie. You're like, yeah, man.
So you see what had happened was
it wasn't.
I remember I was talking about myself as a kid, and I tripped in the kitchen and hit my throat on the back of the kitchen chair, and it's like, and I'm fucking going, but I'm not like, oh my God, I can't breathe. I'm thinking to myself, this house gonna fucking end, bro. This is how the story ends. This is bullshit. Like,
I'm not gonna lie.
Like,
every time
I'm still a virgin, motherfucker. Like, why am I gonna fucking die?
Every time I'm home alone and I'm eating like Doritos, I'm like, I don't want to choke right now on these Doritos. I'm home alone. No one's here to save me. Yep. This is the worst fucking way to die.
I was like, I've been at the shop by myself for the last 2 days, and I'm like, fuck. If I'm like have a heart attack or something, that's just it. I'm just not going to come home tonight. And Rachel's gonna be like, "Where's Robert?" and drive up here, and here I am. And then I feel sorry for the motherfuckers that got to carry me out. That's what I told Rachel. Look, if I'm having a heart attack upstairs, push me down the stairs. Because I don't know how you're gonna get me out otherwise.
Oh, Max Hicks said the tool he needs is a 750 credit score.
Yeah,
bro, man,
that is true.
You're in the wrong hobby for that.
Jason Miloradovich said an ultrasound. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Drew Schultz said more cameras to put in his enclosures, which would have been great because Ryan McVeigh has cameras, which we'll ask him about next week. But
yeah, I got a VivTech camera too. So
did you get one?
Just in case those escapees, man, I gotta see if I can fucking figure out their route.
Have you hooked it up and all? Have you used the camera?
I didn't even put it up yet, but I purchased it.
Someone's gonna get out and be like, check the camera. Well, the camera's in the box,
yeah,
so
I'm gonna put it up soon and do a whole review on it and everything like that too. So yeah, Ryan's awesome, man. I got to talk to him at a few shows and stuff too. So I definitely support VivTech.
I want to look at all. I want to check out all of his sensor products that he has and all those monitoring things and that whole thing. So I'm looking forward to talking to him about all that stuff. I mean, I love the bulbs, but I really want to look at some of the other things that I can use just on my equipment, just for like peace of mind. Robin Williamson. I was going to say Robin Williams, but Robin Williamson.
That's Robin and Arnold Dragons. Yeah.
Yeah. Me and my sister both say a man that knows how to use power tools so that they don't have to build and repair everything themselves.
That's overrated.
Eric at Colossal Constrictors, who's doing our giveaway, also said an ultrasound. Andrea Schleif, however you pronounce it. Tongs, hooks with a GPS device, still missing several and can't ever find them. Yes, that is why I love having places to be able to, like, I have those things you can put on the wall that will hold like a broom or a mop. That's where like my tongs will go, or for like small feeding forceps, I have a magnetic strip and they just stick to that so that I can always find where they are. Joshua Stover said Wi-Fi controlled anything. Bad part about living in the sticks is there's no decent internet though. That would make it hard. Todd Mills said a building to move all of this out of his home. Todd Sanders said an ultrasound. Paul Fiorito said one ridiculous fan that promotes me for every day. Free for every day. Well, I mean, the problem is you're not getting any fans because you don't want to talk to customers after you sell things to them, Paul. So there's a problem there. Justin said a program that combines some of the features on Morph Market with some of the features of Reptile Scan all in one app, which is what Justin just kind of came out with. And then Jack Ottaway said a UV meter, which again, check out VivTech. They have UV meters. What is there anything that you're wanting to get? I mean, you said you just got the camera, which you haven't hooked up yet, but anything else that you're wanting to get for your collection, tool wise, not animal wise, but things to make your life somewhat easier?
Oh, the ultrasound was a big game changer for me. So that's probably my most significant purchase in the past 3 years, I would say. So it's got me to the point where my breeder males, I'm not overbreeding them and wearing them out. And dude, I've killed some males in the past. You know, I was like, hey, I can get one more tie out of him. He's not right. And then fucking he put him in there and he just, fucking to death and stuff too, man. So that's not really a good business model, and it's not really healthy for the animals either. So, but knowing the females file for development, exactly where they are and when to breed them and when not to, it just saves you a lot, man, and kind of lets you dictate your male's workload for the year. So it's been super productive for me, and that's been because you can't pay me enough to palpate, dude. I've been trying to do this shit for damn near 2 decades now. If I squeeze a female and put my finger up her fucking thing and she shits out a fucking missile across the room. I got jujitsu hands, dude. I got a fucking robot grip, man. I don't have that mama alligator touch where I can be deadly when I want to be, but really, really soft. Nah.
So going back to ways we want to die, and in the ball python there, my dad fucking to death doesn't seem like a bad way to go. So I do have a couple of boa males that I need to separate from the females just because they've been fucking nonstop, and which is not good in the fact that obviously they haven't knocked them up yet. But I'm like, they're going to keep fucking. So I need to go ahead and try and pull them and get some food into them and then try putting them back and see if that helps. But
I think Rachel's starting with her Dumerals boas. She's feeding them tonight. So in 2 weeks, she'll start pairing them. So yeah, we'll be in that same, because they have to stay paired for a couple months.
Yeah, for a while. Yeah. And then
so we might have babies by this time next year.
I didn't mention last week. I finally put my rubber boas in the freezer.
Oh, you did?
For the season. So, but I'm far less stressed now than I was 2 seasons ago when I did the first time. Now I'm just like, fucking put them in the freezer. I'll see them in 3 months. It's fine.
Oh,
Say
so
freeze.
Like literally froze. You mean like roommate them and stuff?
Yeah, because like it drops down to like 40s, like low 40s, and so even on the back of the tub in the wine cooler will form ice. And they'll still cruise around with ice around them. Fucking rubber boas.
You put me in 40 degrees, I'm dead. Hell no.
Darren Watson's new breeder name, fuck to death pythons.
That'd be dope.
FTD pythons.
Nice. And then you gotta explain.
You might get sued by. You do FTD, you might get sued by the big trucking company.
Oh yeah. See, Amanda said, glad our chameleons are color coded with breeding. No ultrasound needed. Pink is receptive. Black is gravid. That'd be so much easier if snakes just change colors.
Right.
I know, right?
Could you just turn pink when you're ready to fuck? Anyways,
your dad's gonna have a comment on that one.
Yeah, probably. I'm just gonna ignore him. So there was a new study that came out, and actually, it came from a listener who we got our new logo from. Sent this to me. But scientists have discovered that female snakes have a clitoris. Like, there's no joke to go with that. That's a factual thing. They've discovered that female snakes have a clitoris. And I'm assuming that it was male scientists that were working on this project for a long time, which is why they didn't find it.
Money was granted to study that.
Don't know.
Is my next question.
But it wasn't
all or most, some.
Like, they looked at several different ones and they all had them, so it's kind of assumed that they all have them. It was a female scientist that finally found the snake's clitoris,
because men aren't good at it.
Can't find it. So Jana King said the world would be a better place if everyone turned pink when they were ready to fuck. No, because you just walk around seeing a bunch of pink dudes walking out.
Yeah, every man would just be pink all the time.
Wife is walking with her husband. All of a sudden, a hot chick walks by and he turns pink. What's that for? Nothing. It's you. I swear. Going to Hooters, every dude in there's bright ass pink, just glowing bright pink. And then women are just never pink ever.
They have headaches and stuff. So.
So yeah, they found the snake clitoris. They think that they're and they're still doing more research on it, but that, you know, basically we assumed when it came to snake breeding that it was just the male bothered the female until you could fucking rape her and have babies. And they think that maybe all that rubbing on the tail that the male does to the female maybe to entice her, rubbing against where the clitoris is, because in the base of her tail, around the same place you would find the hemipenes in a male, and get them to want to have sex. Speaking of wanting to have sex, Jana King says she's always pink. So in case somebody take that however you want.
I'm sorry, huh? which will also explain why a lot of snakes are breed outside of season when they're not ready to. So they're just fucking for fun.
Yeah, just rubbing up on each other's hemipenes and hemiclits.
And I recommended this to a child 2 weeks ago. This podcast.
This is a scientific thing. I was talking to some coworkers today because I just found this today, and I told them, and they looked at me weird. I was like, "It's a scientific fact. I'm not trying to be dirty. It is science. Can't help that it just sounds dirty."
When I start throwing this into the did you know, it's gonna be a lot weirder to go, oh, snakes have 2 dicks.
snakes have 2 dicks, and females have clits.
Yeah. Okay.
Good luck on finding it.
That's gonna be interesting around the office fucking water fountain.
Do you know you can rub the female? So wait, does that mean we could just take the females out and just keep rubbing them on their tail and then put them with the male and they'll be ready?
You should probably go to jail if you do that.
Oh, so I posted a video of this wildebeest getting attacked by a crocodile.
By a little crocodile.
And the wildebeest almost gets out, and you can hear the people in the background. The dad seems to be enjoying watching this. Yeah. The rest of the people there are fucking bawling and crying and like, they're so sad. And the wildebeest gets to the edge of the bank and he's about to get out. He's only being held by one leg by this little crocodile. And this big, massive fucking crocodile comes over and just grabs the whole wildebeest and just takes off with it. And they're crying. And the only thing I could picture was Betty White sitting there and going, I hope you know I'm rooting for the crocodile.
For real, right?
So just full Lake Placid mode there. I mean, this big crocodile just comes in and like makes the wildebeest look like a chihuahua and just takes it in its mouth and swims off. He's like, no, I'll go ahead and take that.
Thanks for holding this for me, for little guy. I'll take that.
But
you remember the video of the guy getting in the water trying to save his dog from the little gator and stuff, man? And
yeah.
I was like, bro, if that happens to one of my dogs, I love them, but man, that's the Lord's will, bro. Because first of all, I'm gonna jump in the water, and now we both gonna get our asses kicked. Why?
Hey, but there you go. Antoine killed by alligator.
Yep.
Hey, we need to talk about our friend Blake Wilson for a second.
And his new pet.
Yeah. What do they call it?
Bartholomew.
Blake Wilson went to Peru 2 weeks ago for a herping trip,
and he brought back
a botfly larva in his leg.
Oh.
And they can't remove it. They have to, I guess, let it emerge.
Do they have to, or is he choosing to? It's Blake.
Leaving it there. Blake, he's been videoing it every day.
It's fucking gross. You can see it moving in the opening on his
leg. You can see its face inside the opening, like moving around. And several people are like, please let me be the one that pulls that out.
No, fuck that.
And
there has to be a YouTube video attached to that, man. It has to.
Oh, it's gross just watching. Like it pops up on your, like you're scrolling through Facebook and then you just see this botfly larva moving inside somebody. Oh,
apparently they put out an enzyme or something that blocks pain, so he can't feel it. But it's like in his calf, like moving around. And fuck that. Shit. I'm like, just take the leg.
No, I'd gone straight to a doctor. I'm like, y'all are getting this out of here. I don't care what you got to do. You posted this one though, but it opens this Friday. Reptilandia in what part of Texas?
Johnson City,
Texas.
Hill Country.
So we had Ari Flegel on a while back to talk about Reptilandia, and I want to go there so bad. The exhibits and the cages it's a reptile zoo that they built in Johnson City. And it looks amazing. He's got these giant multi-species setups. We've saw videos of where like the Diamondbacks were like combating, which looked really cool in the setup. So that opens up this Friday.
Travis Wyman just posted a article about a cat eye snake biting someone in Belize and what it did to their hand. And,
is that the one where it turns like almost looks like necrotic? But
we have a cat eye snake.
Yeah. It's a rear fang venomous snake.
Oh, I know.
Jeez.
I know. I'm gonna make sure Rachel reads that.
But so go out to Reptilandia in Johnson City. How far is that from us? That's a ways out there.
About 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours.
Ooh, that could be fun to go to.
Yeah, no, but the great thing is it's near Fredericksburg, and there's all kinds of cool stuff to do out there. But why would we want to do anything besides go to Reptilandia?
He says
is there a big airport near there?
San Antonio, about 2 hours.
Okay, yeah, that's not too bad.
He said in the poster, says love
actually
reptiles.
Austin's closer.
Is it?
Austin's closer. I'm looking at the map now.
So this is a place for you. Reptilandia is one of the biggest indoor reptile zoos out. It's indoors also. So
it's only 3 hours and 42 minutes from here.
From here? Ooh, we do that.
Yeah, that's easy. That's like going to Lafayette.
Yeah, the biggest indoor reptile zoo out there with why is he gonna use big ass words?
Dude, they got a restaurant in town called Fat Boy Burgers. That's named after me.
Sign me up.
We're going.
He's got a temperate building, which means air conditioned. I'm fat. That sounds amazing. 2-story tropical building showcasing species from all over the world.
Wait. The word you got hung up on was temperate?
No, I didn't get hung up. I said I'm all into that. It's air conditioned. It's air conditioned, and I'm fat. I love temperate. I love temperate rooms.
If temperate kicked your ass, boy, we gotta talk.
No, it was the Ethnographic Museum. He has a museum of like all the different places around the world, like cultures and stuff. So like tribal mask and all the types of things because he's gone to New Guinea, so he's got like a lot of New Guinea stuff. He's got some African stuff there, South American, tribal stuff there. So that's a cool museum on top of the animals.
That's dope. Yeah. Add that to the trip for 2023.
Yeah, I can't wait to go there. Like I said, he's posted videos and he talked about it. These cages are huge. They're bigger than most zoos, and like I said, there's several species in them, and so it's basically like looking at a chunk of a forest and seeing what's really happening in the forest, not just a small little cage with a python sitting in the corner going, "Oh, look, there's a python in the corner." Jana says, "Who is your top 3 for the contest?" Inquiring minds are dying to know. Well, of course, Caleb.
It's less than an hour from the Austin show.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
So we'll have to go there. Jana, he told us earlier before we got here that he was never going to vote for you, And then it was only going to be Caleb. Caleb has all of his heart.
All of it.
So, Antoine, have you actually met Caleb in person?
Yeah.
Yes, a few times. Yep.
At Arlington, right?
Yep. Yeah, he drew it all over my shoulder, but I mean, other than that, he's like, hi. I'm like, oh, this is going on. So, no, yeah. Yeah, he latched on to me for most of the show, and we hung out and had a good time, man. Yeah, so, well, Janice, she's up there, and Reggie, and I think Courtney, Stephen from Leviathan, man. And the three of them just been killing it, man. So even though Andrew is my boy, and I got him to do the first episode that was on my show, but he's gonna step it up apparently this week. So I'm excited to see what he does. He's gonna have some like cool shit he's supposed to be posting. So we'll see. But it's gonna be close, man. And honestly, if any of those guys win, I'd be happy, because those people I would actually listen to on the full podcast for an hour and a half, 2 hours anyway, too. And they all have some cool animals. So I think I asked the question on last week's debates, but it never got around to being asked. But I said, who has the best collection out of everybody? And nobody answered it. So I thought that was like a huge fight. And, this kind of got brushed over. So, I actually want to listen to somebody that actually putting the money in and has some dope stuff. So we'll see how it goes, man. And I still honestly don't know who my 25% vote is going to. So whoever fucking kills it at the wire, that's who's going to get it.
It's Caleb. It's all right.
But like I said though, I'm kind of sad, but at the same time, I'll be happy to pass the torch on to the newest generation.
Brian McDowell posted a picture of a martial eagle, like eating a savanna monitor up in a tree. Like it's just the head of a savanna monitor hanging from its claws.
I saw that.
That's badass.
That's fucking crazy.
Man, we're already 8:45.
It is.
Time goes by fast when you're having fun, I guess.
Well, you guys let me run my yak for a fucking hour and a half.
When you're talking about clitorises, it's tons of fun.
It just flows,
I'm trying to read all these ball python people in this chat. Jesus Christ! You bring in one ball python person, and the rest of them follow them in.
That's okay.
Well, I actually shared the link on on a bunch of pages and stuff too. So I did my due diligence. I was like,
we appreciate that, man.
Let's get these guys ones of views. So.
Can't wait. So there were several there were several posts on Facebook this week that I found interesting. One was what was there was one about but you were trying to find pictures, like bad pictures on Morph Market or whatever of people's animals.
Like the guy that's holding the Dumeral's boa and his fucking dirty ass foot with no shoe on is right there underneath it. And then the next picture is like, I swear this guy's arm hair has to be 6 inches long. And it's like the snake is like hiding in his arm hair. And I sent that to Chris Eaton and he goes, is he fucking naked?
Dude, I want to do a picture like that where I'm like doing like a reflection into my incubator and I'm like butt ass naked.
That's like the ones you see on like Facebook Marketplace, will go around where someone's like selling a TV.
Yeah.
And they're standing there naked when they take the picture of the TV.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm just looking at the lizard moving around.
What's wrong with people, bro?
A lot. A lot is wrong with people. There was someone that posted a picture earlier this week asking for help. Their boas. So they had this small, like, have you ever seen the small, like, flat critter keepers? Not the tall ones, but like they're made for like tarantulas. They had 2 boa babies in there, and then they had below it in a tank with a heat rock, a ball python, and they were trying to figure out why their snakes weren't eating.
None of them were eating.
And like this picture is why they're not eating.
Yeah, 2 boas.
2 boas and a critter keeper. What could go with what obviously looked like no heat on them.
And somebody said something. You have 2 boas in there? Well, they're babies. Oh, okay.
It's still an issue.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking people.
I had a local rescue person here that bought like a pastel inchy like 3 years ago, and then they came back later and bought another little simple snake and was like, yeah, the snake I bought from you died like a few months back. I want to get my money back. I'm like, well, Was it eaten? No. How's it set up? Well, I had a house with the other snake the whole time, and but it seemed fine. I was like, well, what was your heat source? Oh, I had this big red lamp in there.
Well, you should give me money for being stupid.
I'm like, you're a terrible rescue. First of all, let's start with, and then this word rescue gets thrown around so crazy. I'm like, most of these people aren't rescues, bro.
No.
You're just trying to get snakes for fucking the cheap, and then you're just fucking getting a couple meals in them, if that, and then just flipping them.
When I see, I'm looking to rescue a ball python, no normals, please, then you're not a fucking rescue.
Yeah. Or I just rescued this snake from PetSmart for $300.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Good job on your $75 pastel there.
Fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, if you bought it, you didn't rescue it. That's not the same thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't find.
But we have to be responsible when we educate people and do it in a tactful manner. That's
bullshit.
Not seem condescending and
bullshit. Some people need to be called out on being stupid.
Yeah.
But
sometimes, for sure.
You attract more flies when you shit on them than when you. I don't know how's the saying go. You attract more honey with flies if you shit on them.
That sounds right.
That sounds right. Yeah.
What if I just mix some shit and honey together? Do I get all the flies?
You say one sweet thing while shitting on them.
Right.
You get some sweet shit. You got to do the compliment. You have to do the compliment sandwich.
There you go.
Yep.
Oh, fucking people. So yeah,
right.
I guess it's coming up on 2 hours, so it's probably time to wrap it up so that Antoine can get back to the fact that it's still probably daylight where he's at.
Oh no, it's
6:45 dark.
It got dark at 5 my time, like right when we started.
Jeez.
Same here.
Yeah, he was like, I forgot he was in Pacific, and then he asked earlier, he's like, what is that in Pacific time? I was like, oh, I forgot he's in that stupid time zone.
When I lived out there, I would be like, oh, I need to call my grandma. Shit, it's 8 o'clock. She's in bed already because it's 10 o'clock in Texas.
My mom's on the East Coast, so 4:30 a.m. Antoine, it's your mother calling you. I'm like, Mom, it's 4:30 a.m. No, it's actually 7:30 over here. I'm like, but it's 4:30 here. There's a time zone. Oh, okay. The next day.
But anyway,
now that you're up.
Now that you're up.
The Pacific time zone is always weird because just when you watch TV, like if you're watching it's always like the time you see the time for Eastern and Central, and then you realize that they're on a completely different thing and they have to wait several hours. But it's like time travel over there. Or like
mountain time always kicks my ass. I'm like, mountain, what the fuck?
You always forget it exists. Like there's people that live in this time.
Yeah.
People live in this time zone?
For real. Goddamn Albuquerque. You guys are Central, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Central.
We're Chicago time zone, which is how it always shows up on like anything when you're picking. I don't know why Chicago became the place, but that's always like, what times do you live? New York, Chicago. I'm like, I guess Chicago. I have to claim that, but nowhere fucking near it.
Yep.
I'm just looking at these are all people, I guess. Let's see. Lori Gray says she doesn't know people well enough to rip on them yet. You don't have to know people well enough to rip on them. Go for it.
Yeah. James makes an art out of that.
Fucking, it's amazing. Be confident in yourself and make fun of people. It'll make you feel like a better person.
I will say this, James, man. I'm jealous that our class from last year didn't do these big social media pushes the way that these guys are and made it a little more competitive, you know? Like half of our class was like, oh, I'm just going to bow out. I'm just not going to do anything. And
I went through the process of making memes and everybody else just kind of disappeared.
Yeah, dude, I was just fucking I enjoyed it, man. I just wish more people knew who you were, so that way it'd have been more fun to rag on you.
I agree. I wish more people knew. That's why I figure I'll make fun of Antoine, and people will learn who I am through my making fun of Antoine.
Dude, when I made that video where you were talking about shit tortoises and shit, people was like, "What the fuck, dude?" It was great, but then again, people were like, "Who is this guy?" I'm like, "Fuck, man, this shit doesn't hit right, man."
Because I'm not a ball python person.
But I'm proud of the man you become, James, and I just
thank you, Antoine. Even though
I just want to say that I appreciate your growth and your development as a podcaster and as an overall human being. And,
I am not growing as a human being. I'm staying where I am.
I really admire and respect you, man. So I mean, you keep doing a good job, buddy. And one day you're gonna be an eighth as famous as me.
I'm going to say something completely off topic here because some friends of mine just shared their new podcast. It's two women. They just got married. Their podcast is called Oddititties and Clitoriosities.
Hold on a second.
He's getting a paper and pen. Oddititties and Clitoriosities.
Hey, I have a topic. I've got a clitoris topic.
I know. I'm like, that's what brought it up.
Oddititties
and Clitoriosities.
Clitoriosities. That seems right up.
I always need new podcasts to clean the clean stuff too, you know. So Oddititties and
send them that article about snake clitorises.
Boom, done. Consider me subscribed.
I'm gonna go follow their podcast. Odditittiespod@gmail.com is their email.
The old Odditittiespod.
I like it.
I think I should just call it the clam bake. Oh, anyways, it took Antoine a second. He got it.
Okay, Antoine about to have another heart attack.
Oh, please don't.
Man. No, man. I think I'm fine now. I have a normal resting heart rate now. It's not like 90. It's not 99 like it was back in May. It's down to like in the 40s again. So
when did you know what was happening? Like when you had a heart attack, did you go, shit, this is a heart attack?
No, I thought I had gas.
Yeah, that's so. I have a friend who almost died from a widowmaker a couple years ago, and he's like, I'm not going to the hospital, I'm fine. And his wife was like, there's something wrong, and like forced him to go. And thank God she did, because he damn near died from it.
So working on the base here in town, China Lake, because a lot of people commute from like hours away. We're off every other Friday, called it a Flex Friday, and so it's a flex weekend. So I got up early that Friday, and you know, everyone knows I like build guns and stuff too. So I build ARs and like Glock clones too. So I'm testing a lot of stuff. I've got my backpack. I'm in the desert just fucking dumping it, shooting. And I'm just like, I'm like, fucking gas is crazy, right? So I go to the gas station, grab like some fucking ginger ale, some Cokes, and I'm like, just fucking letting out burps, nothing. So I tough it out because I'm a Marine, you know. Mm-hmm. So the next day, it's a UFC card. I bought a pay-per-view, and it's just me with fucking a mountain of wings and beers and shit too. And I'm just
that's good for heart attacks. I hear
on the couch, just fucking screaming at the television, and I'm like, oh fuck, man, this is so uncomfortable. So nothing. So Sunday morning, I get up. And I wake up out of my bed like it's a lot of pain, and I go to the refrigerator and I fucking grab another ginger ale and I burp and I pass out. Boom, face plant, done. And I get up and I feel a little bit better. I come to and I'm like, man, maybe I should go to the hospital. But first, let me make sure I shower because you gotta have clean drawers when you go to the shower, to the hospital, and you're not funky and everything too. So. We get there and they're like, man, your heart took a beating like all weekend. So I'm like, well, tell me something I don't know. And, you know, and there's like, my heart was inflamed and enlarged. So the actual diagnosis was myocarditis, and which turned out to be a legit side effect through the vaccine. I found a bunch of people around me during that time where at a Facebook group where it was 837 of us that had the same issue with like, it was either Pfizer, Moderna, or Johnson & Johnson. That didn't matter. 2 months after that, I came back to check on everybody. 250 people in the group died.
Fuck.
After they were feeling better. So I'm like, man, I don't want to feel better.
I have a friend who she's 32. She's a single mom. She got the Pfizer vaccine. And then she got a booster, and about 3 weeks after she got the booster, she woke up one morning and is paralyzed from the neck down. She has Guillain-Barré syndrome. She just got out of the hospital last Saturday, after 5.5 months in hospital and rehab facilities. She still can't walk or anything, but her insurance is like, well, we're not paying anymore, so you get to go home. And 100% linked to that vaccine.
One of our lead engineers on the base, she does like all the plans for like the new bombs and stuff like that too. Like she's like super important. Like she goes, oh, I think we should make this new advanced javelin missile that does this. That's her job. She brainstorms it, plans it out.
She thinks of ways to blow motherfuckers up.
Too. So she was pre-diabetic, but didn't know until after she got the vaccine, and somehow whatever shot she got interfered with that. 2 days later, she went completely blind.
Oh fuck!
And it's been a year now. She still has no sight, so can't work. Her whole livelihood is on her like doing plans and being an engineer, and can't do nothing, man. Completely blind.
Damn.
So. All right, well, let's end the show on a good note then.
But we're not going to get into the political and philosophical ramifications of this whole thing because I really don't get into that kind of thing. But
me either.
Hey, maybe for some people it helped them out. You know what I mean? And I got COVID 3 times since the vaccine, so.
I got it,
but I got a little card that led me into one of the reptile shows in California, though.
I got the vaccine, got COVID a week later, went back and got my booster like 3 weeks later, or the second shot like 3 weeks later, and they were like, "Oh yeah, you're fine." That shit almost killed me, and I've had COVID twice since then. So,
the numbers are coming back up in California, so they're making us wear a mask on base tomorrow. So they said you have to wear a mask or you can go home. I was like, checks bank account. All right, I'm going to test this theory. I got fights this weekend, so if you're going to send me home early, and I'm already taking off Friday. All right, I got you. Let me fucking call your bluff. And I'm also the only electrician at my job now because nobody wants to work on a Harrier because it's a dying jet, and no one wants to move to California because it's California. So,
yeah, they don't still make Harriers, do they?
No, the F-35 is replacing it, but the F-35 is still a piece of shit. So until they got it figured out, we still have to dump a bunch of 2000s technology into an Atari 2600.
Yeah, that's about right. When I used to work at the San Diego Aerospace Museum, and we had a Harrier, and it was in our flying museum, but they were like, "We'll never fly that piece of shit again."
Only thing everybody I know is that it can go up.
Yeah,
it can go straight up. That's about.
Yep, you don't need a full carrier. You can get the LHDs and stuff like that too, and some close air support. But it's a cool concept, and it's always fun to watch at air shows too. But it's just like every time you see that thing at an air show, just know that there was like almost a month of maintenance to get that thing.
I had a customer at the Austin show a couple weeks ago that actually lives here, and he's a police officer. He worked for LA County for 13 years and left in his 14th year to get the fuck out of California and moved here. Man. And is a cop here.
So my dad used to be an aircraft mechanic in the Air Force, and he worked on T-38s.
I'm sure.
Okay.
But he just said they had a Marine Harrier come in and they had to help him. He said it's all fucking engine. The whole thing's just engine.
Yep, it's a big old engine. Like to get to the engine, you have to take the wing off.
Jeez.
Yep, and the engine is a Rolls-Royce Pegasus engine.
So it's expensive to work on, is all you're saying.
It's so expensive. Well, but like whenever we go, we need to pull an engine, you should see the faces in maintenance control. Their eyes get so big and they get so upset. And I was like, yeah, blah, blah, blah. We found out the engine, or we had a bird strike. It's an engine pull. And they're like, fuck, man. Yeah, it's a lot.
I remember going to the Air Force base where they worked. They had T-38s and T-37s. And the T-37s was like little private jets, and then the T-38s, I remember they were the Smurfs. They got blue ones in at one point. Like I used to go be able to sit in them. I was like,
here is cool. A Rolls-Royce Pegasus Mark 106 engine for sale, and it says price inquire. That means you can't fucking afford it.
Is it Pegasus 1 or 2? Does it say?
FA.2.
Antoine's like, we need an extra one on base.
Yeah. Here's one for sale on Gov Deals for $6,700.
That's actually not bad.
That's all.
Yeah.
What that means is missing the generator and the deck use, because the deck use by itself for $90,000 a piece. So,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Not on a pallet, on the ground in an airplane hangar. Buyer responsible for all aspects of packaging and preparation for safe shipment. Seller has a forklift, but you can't use it. That's what it fucking says on the ad.
My dad told me the Smurfs were AT-38s. They carried armament.
That's great. We have a forklift, but you can't use it.
Just throw that shit on your back. It's fine.
Hey guys, and just because all of you guys are near and dear to my heart, that I'm actually going to autograph the ones I send to you. So you got to send me your address.
Oh,
so
okay.
I can send you some.
And then I'll make sure my daughter doesn't check the mail anytime soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
check my mail once a month anyway.
Everyone's asking. The biggest question is, what snake is this in the picture? That's a inchy lace clown. So yeah, that's that.
That's where everybody's going with this.
Yeah, he was a pretty penny. It wasn't. I don't think they're asking about the super black behind it. They wanted to know that.
What's that thick black snake behind it?
Yeah, they wanted to know what the bright yellow one was. I'm like, what am I, chopped liver? Something.
No.
Yeah, so you guys shoot me your address and I'll
just
send the guys out too, and
some black snake moan there.
So that'd be cool. Oh man, I just thought it was obviously it's a gag, but it's also a good gesture and stuff too, and so if something does happen to me, you guys can have this memento to hold near and dear to your heart. And,
I plan on holding it near and dear.
Not on my heart though.
But not near my heart.
Keep it away from my wife.
All right. Antoine, if folks want to get a hold of you so you can ignore them, what's the best way?
High Nature Pythons everywhere: Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, stuff too. So if you go on Morph Market, my phone number is on there. And I regret this every podcast because someone goes, "Hey man, just testing to make sure it's really you." I'm like, don't fucking do that, dude. If you got a legit question, I'll gladly ask. And if you guys want to join the League of Assassins on Patreon, it's patreon.com/high-pythons, where if you're in the VIP group, every 90 days we do a big giveaway. So at the end of the year, we're actually going to do probably like a triple head female or like a $3,000 to $5,000 animal. So.
Ooh, I could win a ball python.
But you got to be in it for 3 months in order to be eligible for the contest. You can't just jump in, win, and then be like, I'm out, So, but that's it, man. So, but thank you guys for having me, man.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
You guys are two people I respect in this industry, James. I really mean that. So,
I really wonder how many people hear me badmouth Antoine all the time and wonder if I really don't like Antoine.
Right. What they don't realize is the people that you do that to are the ones you actually like.
That's how I tell my students at the gym. I'm like, hey, I'm like the kids I fuck with at the gym. I'm like, I know your name, so that means you're doing something.
There you go.
See, my problem for my students is if I know their name, they're probably doing something wrong because I've learned their name enough to tell them to shut up.
And speaking of students too, I want to shout out to my guy Jacob Gallagher. He's my longest running student. I had him from kindergarten until 12th grade.
Oh damn!
He just graduated Marine Corps boot camp this past week, and he came by the house.
Well, that's awesome.
Because he actually has a ball python too, so he grabbed a small rat from me, and we took some pictures and hung out too.
So you just turned him into a mini version of you.
And I make sure to tell him, I said, look, don't get anyone pregnant right now, and don't get married. He goes, oh, I'm getting married in a month. I'm like, what the fuck, motherfucker?
Learn from my mistakes, goddammit.
But he graduated the same company in a battalion as I did, so that's awesome. Pretty awesome. This Kilo company.
When I lived in San Diego, I was in college, and when you met a girl, you ask her, "Do you date Marines?" And if she said yes, just move on, because there's two types of girls in San Diego: the ones that date Marines and the ones that don't. And the ones that date Marines generally have some psychological issues. And
so North Carolina has, Eastern Carolina University, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They have, so the ECU Pirates, they have a class, an NDOT class, explaining to you why you shouldn't date Marines. I was like, that's so awesome. We're doing a great job.
We also didn't go to Tijuana on Friday nights because that's when boot camp graduated, was Friday, and that's when all the 19-year-old Marines would be in Tijuana drinking and
getting some donkey shows.
You did not want to be there if you weren't a Marine because they're full of pent up energy and
they'd be pink. They'd be bright pink.
Oh yeah, they're ready to do a couple things start with F.
TJ. Oh, every time I think of TJ, see the little glint in my eye.
If you want to get a hold of us, it is the Reptile Gumbo podcast on Instagram, Facebook, and at gmail.com. Don't forget we have items on our store on Facebook. Check those out. Don't forget our doing our giveaway each week this month. So again, comment on our questions. Everyone that's commented on the questions this week will be drawn next week for another infrared temp gun from our friends over at Colossal Constrictors. And I think that's it. Great night. Awesome. I'm so glad we finally got you on, and thanks for coming on in super short notice. I was really expecting you to go, no, I can't come on. I was like, fuck. But
yeah, love you guys. Stay black.
All right, buddy. Later. Hang out for just a second, Antoine.
I will.
All right. Goodbye, everybody.